there with the block. Welcome, everybody, here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Guess what, everybody? It's time. It is time for some district baseball here today. Paxton Gordon joining you alongside my co-host, single-time co-host for today, which sucks at the same time because I wish you were here for more than just one day, Jake Schwartz.
Yes, sir.
I'm so good at this. See, this is why I get paid the big dollars here. He is the new Alliance Bulldogs sports director up in Alliance for our sister stations there. So first off, congratulations. But more importantly, you're coming at a great time. It is time for some district baseball. 5 Points Bank Hastings, who are currently the #1 seed in this A7 Seniors District, 25-8 on the year, taking on Great Plains Health, post 163, 14-21 on the season. North Platte coming in on a 3-game losing streak compared to 5 Points Bank Hastings, who lost their last contest against, if I remember correctly, Millard South, the Pat Hagee Millard South Patriots, 11-1. North Platte coming into today, you know, if you were to replay the last 3 games in your mind, probably thinking, oh, yeah, it's not looking too good. 3-game losing streak, not the best confidence after a tough Kearney tournament where they went 1-4. But they're facing a team that they have seen so many times, not just over the years, but also this year, and have come so close to picking up a victory. The question is, Jake, do you have a good feeling today is the day that North Platte will conquer their demons and take down Hastings?
You know, well, in my career, I have had quite the lucky charm with me. So
there he is.
We were talking about that earlier today, and I'm excited to see how it plays out here on the field today.
It's districts is always, any type of playoff competition is just so different from what it is like during the regular season. Of course, the stakes go up. Essentially, everyone starts at a 0-0 record, even though you're placed in certain brackets. It's almost like a new season begins, and that's where the fun begins because anything is on the table. Last year, North Platte, a team that came in probably one of the hottest in the state of Nebraska, cleared through 3 of the toughest teams in the state, Hastings, Kearney, and Grand Island Home Federal, who were the A7 district champs last season, to make it to state for the first time in over 4 years. And while the road might be tougher with them being the 6th seed, I'm feeling good today. Easton Jones will be on the mound for North Platte. Very strong outing in his last contest against the Northside Dirt Devils on that Friday game a week ago for the Kearney tournament, versus a pitcher that they have actually seen this season as well, not in American Legion, but in high school ball. Adams Central, Mr. Reichstein will be taking over for Hastings. Jacob Reichstein will be the pitcher for Hastings this season. Easton Jones, not only the best hitting percentage, above .330 this season, leading the team in RBIs, but also statistically probably their best pitcher, below 5 ERA. A lot of the team hover around 5.2, 5.3. Easton around 4.5. And then less when it comes to his strikeouts as well. So we're going to see the best pitcher for North Platte versus the second best pitcher for Hastings. But it's going to be a battle today. It is going to be a battle. Couldn't have asked for a more beautiful day today. Exactly. Not a single gust of wind, which is, well, I lie. If you look out there somewhat far away, you can see some wind. But right here in Billwood Field, not an ounce of wind is currently being blown in any of our directions. And it's crazy to think because Hastings already has a guy down, unfortunately, on their end. They've had Zane Thompson break his nose during pregame warm-ups, and I wasn't the one who saw it. You know, Jake over here had his eye cleanly posted to it, so really take me through what happened to Mr. Thompson if anybody who hasn't been at the field saw what happened.
Well, yeah, so during warm-ups, I was trying to get a look at some of these teams, and on the throw across to first base, took a weird hop, tried to make a pick on it, and it just kind of hit him right up in front in pretty much the center of his face, and pretty instantly he kind of stepped off to the side over to the coaches, and yeah, it looked like he was in quite a bit of pain.
It looked like it, and unfortunately for him, he's not going to be playing today, Mr. Zane Thompson. He was the first baseman for Hastings, and he is actually out for today, so they've had to make some lineup changes. But how about we ourselves jump into those lineups here on our Double Dips Ice Creamery starting lineup. Double Dips Ice Creamery in the historic Canteen District in North Platte offers 24-plus different flavors of hand-dipped ice cream served in a variety of ways. Double Dips also offers homemade waffle cones and bowls alongside homemade fudge and freshly baked desserts. For the side of Hastings, Isaiah Shaw will be leading off in right field. Parker Hodgen taking over at first base now in the 2-hole. Jackson Shagru at shortstop. Caleb Wallmeyer at third base. Nick Musel, designated hitter. Liam Dyer in left field. Adam Rutt, now the new catcher. Jaron Johnson in center field. Royer DeLora at second base. And, of course, Jacob Reichstein is the pitcher today for Hastings. As for North Platte, Caden Johnson, as always, leading off in center field. Jackson Peters in right field. Landon Greeno at first base. Easton Jones will be the pitcher on the mound, as we talked about earlier today, probably giving North Platte one of its best chances so far this season. Easton Jones catching, my heavens, Dean McIntyre's catching. As always, that'd be quite a shock if he was pitching and catching at the same time. Connor Stifler at second base. Ty Hanneborg at shortstop. Easton Geisler is a designated hitter today with Cade Songster out in the left field. Jacoby Silos is your third baseman. Time to jump into our Owls Lock and Safe keys to the game. Jake, if you're out there on the mound, what are you looking for from Easton Jones to come away with the victory today against the #1 team in this district?
Well, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with managing the heat today, the humidity as well. It's getting later on in the evening, so sun might be going down a little bit later on. But in this starting spot, you're battling the temperatures, and as you mentioned, the top team in this bracket. So 1 through 9, you've got to be on high alert, and you can't let the elements get to you.
That's right, because, of course, Easton Jones got some heat under his arm, but you don't want to waste that with the heat. That can go to waste pretty quickly. And for the offensive side, for me, I think for North Platte, it's got to find consistent contact. They've struggled the last couple of games with their contact, have only accrued 4 and 5 hits in their last 3 games combined. It's been a tough stretch offensively, so if North Platte doesn't go chase the ball, as they've been unfortunately in the last 3 games, that's been their go-to. This might be a pretty tough competition. Last time these two teams faced off in Hastings, it was a walk-off single up the middle for 5 Points Banks Hastings, and they won that game 9-8, which I think, I'm counting over the last 5 years, or 3 years, they've walked off North Platte in Hastings in the 7th inning 5 times. 5 times. And as you said, and I said it earlier as well, it's districts. Anything can happen. We're going to step aside and take a break for the showing of our colors and the national anthem. When we come back here, we'll have the start of the game, FM 98.1, AM 1410, live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Bill Wood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410. The number 6 seeded Great Plains Health Post 163, currently 14-21 on the season, taking on the number 1 team in this A7 American Legion District bracket. 5 Points Bank Hastings 25-8 on the year. Another strong season for this Hastings squad. You're always going to expect a team that may not wow you in their overall production of hitting statistics, pitching statistics, but a team that is just coached oh so well and will beat you from just pure good essential baseball, which means you have to play essentially your perfect game because you're not going to see them mess up a lot. And that's probably, in my opinion, the toughest team you have to face. You can get kind of lucky versus a team that has really high, top-end players because they might go on a cold streak. But if you're playing a team that's just 1 through 9, 6 solid, you're going to have to play your best game, and I think that's what North Platte's going to have to do today. Jacob Reichstein, 5-0 on the season. Their second-best pitcher behind Carlos Jimenez, so Jimenez is going to get the break today. Reichstein, who played for Adams Central, will be taking over to the mound today. North Platte played Adams Central earlier in the baseball season. Adams Central came away with the victory, but wasn't as clean for Reichstein. Now, if you are a lower seed, Jake, and you're the head coach here, you're head coach Ricky Holman, you're in his shoes, what are you telling the guys in the dugout? Because, again, you are the last game of today, but you're also the number 6 seed in this tournament. So a lot of, I'd say expectations are off your shoulders, but you don't really have that pressure to perform, to live up to a number 1 seeded potential. What are you going to tell the guys in the dugout?
Yeah, I do think it is a bit of a mix of all of those things where you're playing free a little bit. You're thinking, what do we have to lose at this point? But also, you want to give your team the proper encouragement that they can actually get the job done. You think back to prior games in the season where you overcame some hardships and you really harp on that and try to get the team motivated.
That's right. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see how this team will bounce back. They finished their regular season in the Kearney tournament on a 3-game losing streak in 3 games that particularly weren't pretty, but particularly weren't even close. So it'll be interesting to see after this prolonged week-long break how this team's going to react. And it's all going to start here with Caden Johnson leading off for North Platte. Currently on the season for Johnson, 280 batting average. Second on the team in RBIs. He is the, again, steal leader, all-time steal leader for Great Plains Health. He'll be leading off as he always does, this time against Jacob Reichstein for 5 Points Bank Hastings. Up next, Jackson Peters on deck with Landon Greeno in the hole as the righty Reichstein's first pitch to Johnson. Fastball that's outside for ball number 1. Hastings has a deadly 1-2 combo with Carlos Jimenez, who is also, hasn't accrued a loss this entire season, and Reichstein, probably Adams Central's best pitcher, as that's flied into the parking lot around my car. That's the worst part about where we're sitting so far in our terms of our car, is it's in the general direction of foul balls, so hopefully that doesn't crash through my window. Kind of be how my day would be. 1-1 now with Reichstein as he gets to sign in from Adam Rutt, the new catcher for Hastings, and another beautiful pitch from Reichstein for strike number 2. 1-2 the count. Nobody out, nobody on to this top of the first inning on our wicked fast scoreboard. 1-2 pitch. Little chopper bounces off for Reichstein, and at that, Caden Johnson's going to make his way on over to first. Quick comebacker. Reichstein in good position, but stumbled a little bit back with how fast that ball was coming to him, and North Platte leads off with their first hit today, Jake.
Yeah, that was just a really kind of awkward bounce. It looked like he was right on the money with the footwork to get there, but then it kind of got up on his feet and on his body in an awkward way, and he just fell down. You can see on those what were some clean white baseball fans. Now he's got them all dirtied up.
A little dirtied up, yep. Now, again, as I said, Caden Johnson steals leader for North Platte when it comes to the American Legion. And here's a young man who will maybe at one point reach that mark. Jackson Peters, probably the second, maybe in some people's eyes, the fastest player on this North Platte roster. Johnson at first, wouldn't be shocked if we see him take off as Reichstein will get the sign from Rutt and deliver his first pitch upstairs on the fastball for ball number 1. How dangerous is it for a right-handed pitcher to have a speedster at first base knowing at some point he's going to be stealing?
It can be dangerous, and that's why in practice you work on that pickoff motion. You want to make sure nothing's repeatable and makes it harder on the base runner.
Caden Johnson, I don't think, has been picked off his entire season for Great Plains Health, as 2 quick pitches to Jackson Peters for second ball. Something that you'll very rarely see get, put on for Caden Johnson is getting picked off, as Reichstein, now with that bright blue jersey, will get a couple signs from Rutt and deliver the next one. Fastball in there for strike number 1. 2-1 the count, with nobody out and a runner at first being Caden Johnson for Great Plains Health. Landon Greeno, old reliable on deck with Easton Jones in the hole. Wouldn't be shocked if at this pitch we see Caden Johnson might take off, but time's going to be called, and now Jackson Peters will get a re-sign from Coach Ricky Holm here on the third base side, as we all get set back up. I wouldn't be shocked maybe potentially if we see a bunt. Yeah, third baseman Caleb Wallmeyer now on the infield grass with nobody out. Wouldn't be shocked if, yep, there he goes. Pickoff attempt! Oh, no. As that was mighty close at first. I was just about to radio jinx Caden Johnson as he almost got tagged out on a pickoff attempt. But Peters is showing bunt, which I don't think is shocking with the speed on the base pad. Wallmeyer in the grass at third. 2-1 count to the young outfielder. There goes Caden Johnson, pulls back. Rutt's throw to second, high in the sky. Oh, and Caden Johnson safely gets there, as a lot of the infield not happy with that call. I mean, it was a bang-bang play at second base that does go in favor of North Platte, and Caden Johnson successfully steals second base. 3-1 count to Jackson Peters now, but it's one of those scary moments. But so far, it's worked in favor of North Platte. Now the question can become, can they bring him home? 3-1. The next pitch, Peters pulls back. That's ball 4, and a walk for Jackson Peters. That's now 2 of the fastest guys on North Platte's offense on the base pad. And Jake, something you should know, this team, they sure do love to steal bases. It's the detriment of them, whether it be good or bad. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a double steal attempt right here from both Jackson Peters or Caden Johnson. 2 runners on, nobody out in this top of the first inning. Old reliable Landon Greeno comes up to bat. Probably the one hitter that in these situations makes the biggest plays for North Platte. I think so far in his career, four big almost walk-off hits for Landon Greeno ever since transferring from Kearney. Infield, and more importantly, Parker Hodgen at first, shadowing towards the grass, as that first pitch from Reichstein in for strike number 1. First lefty hitter for North Platte. I think one of the only hitters this season for North Platte that's a lefty. As runners at first and second. Johnson at second. Peters at first. Landon Greeno. Opportunity to bring Caden Johnson home with a big hit to the outfield. It's Reichstein's pitch. Fastball. Once again, it's tight to the chest, but in for strike number 2. 0-2 count. Greeno 15 RBIs on the year. Looking to make it 16 with Johnson in scoring position. 2 big fastballs from Reichstein. He sure does have an arm. Next 0-2. Oh, that might get away. Does get away from Adam Rudd. Uh-oh, and a little bit of some trouble. Almost was the North Platte base runners. Unfortunately, Caden Johnson couldn't see the ball himself and didn't take off with Jackson Peters halfway down the first base line before he turned around. But there's ball number 1 for North Platte. 1-2 count. Nobody out. Reichstein up to 11 pitches, 6 strikes, 5 balls already in today's game. Again, North Platte, they lose this game. We'll be playing at 4 o'clock tomorrow. If they win, they'll play at 7 versus Grand Island U-Save. If they lose versus Scotts Bluff, that's going to bounce off the ankle of Landon Greeno. And early on, Reichstein not looking too hot. The bases are loaded with nobody out. This is the worst way for Hastings to start this game off. Nobody out and the bases loaded for the RBI leader for North Platte at around 30. That's Easton Jones. Tough situation.
Yeah, big batter coming in for this righty-righty matchup, but not the start that you would expect from a top seed. We'll see if they can recover it.
Jones hit a home run in the very last game for North Platte against Millard North in their last tournament. As that first pitch in there for strike number 1. This would be a huge start for North Platte. They can get off the rip, scoring maybe at the minimum 1 run. But with 2 outs, you kind of can play some funny baseball. A bunt along any of the lines would score a run, try to sacrifice somebody aboard, or you take a big swing with Easton Jones. But quickly down to the count 0-2. North Platte has tried a couple suicide squeezes. Over the weekend, they were 1 for 9 in those suicide squeezes. Not the perfect metric that you wish to see, but you got one across. But Easton Jones, can he make some contact to keep this bat alive? 0-2 is Reichstein's pitch. Hard hitter, going to jump right past Landon Greeno. Throw on to second, might see a double play. Throw to first, going to get away from the first baseman, so 1 run will already have scored. And Jackson Peters comes home with Easton Jones running to second. You get the easy out at second, but you get 2 runs, unfortunately, to come across on a costly mistake on a throw. It's 2-0 in favor of Great Plains Health post 163.
And that's what those free passes can result in sometimes if you're not able to recover them. And we talked about only, no outs recorded at that point. It's very difficult to work out of those bases loaded jams.
And now time's going to be called as out comes head coach for. Oh, nice for Hastings to get the numbers all reset. Unfortunate for head coach Ricky Holm, has the numbers all mixed up as. Back on over goes Blake Marquardt. He'll have a conversation with and now out comes umpire to talk with head coach Ricky Holm. But Easton Jones at second as still 1 out here. In a bases loaded situation, when you see an infield ground out, your first thought is, oh boy, here comes double play ball. So for North Platte to not only come away with 2 runs, but to only suffice 1 out and have a runner in scoring position at second, probably best case scenario for Great Plains Health, with another power bat up to snuff here for Great Plains Health. Dean McIntyre, yet to record a home run this season, but boy, oh boy, that is a man you do not want to leave a ball hanging in the zone. Jones at second base with 1 out here in this top of the first inning in the A7 district final game, as first pitch to McIntyre is there for ball number 1. Connor Stifler on deck. Ty Hanneborg in the hole. Jones in scoring position at second base. If there is somebody on the team, it's just funny, if you look at Dean McIntyre, and I told you he leads the team in triples, would you be shocked?
Not at all.
That is a big man behind home plate. And with an opportunity to bring some runs home, as there's a pickoff attempt, but Easton Jones gets back. Jackson Shagru running from a shortstop position to potentially apply that tag, but big, long Jones slides back in plenty of time. Won't be really seeing many running shenanigans from Easton Jones. Not much of a steal threat, when it comes to quick speed. Now, if you get him running, there's a different story, as next pitch from Reichstein's in there for strike number 1. 1-1 the count. 1 out. 2-0 lead here to open up the A7 district for Great Plains Health. They're the 6th seed, so looking for a big upset. And so far for Jacob Reichstein, it's kind of been iffy, hit or miss with his overall command of the pitches. 10 strikes, 8 balls for somebody who's undefeated this season. Not off to the greatest of starts. As 2-1 is the count now to Dean McIntyre with Easton Jones at second base. And there's ball 3. Boy, that one, again, nowhere even near the plate. And it's tough. Now, if you're a fan of North Platte like we are, it was a great start. It was a great sign, especially against a team like Hastings. You really want to start getting, as they're actually going to throw him a new ball, as now there's some confusion out there. Because he's confused, because if he threw the ball back, that might have been a balk. So was asking if they needed a new ball, but he kept hold of it, and now play resumes. But if you are getting North Platte and you're getting these leads out early, that's what you need against a team like Hastings that, again, 1 seed, they're 26 wins on the season for a reason. And if you can get out and start making them bleed early, just like this right here, another walk, might put some more unadded pressure needed for the team. And worst case scenario for Hastings, you'll start warming up a new pitcher this early on. Because, it really is a war of attrition, this tournament is. A lot of these bigger teams, of course, you may not think that when it comes to how deep their roster goes. Is here comes Tommy Haggard, courtesy running for Dean McIntyre. But, when you get to a certain pitch count, you have to take a couple of days off. And if you can't make it to that mark, we might not be seeing you for the rest of the tournament. So Reichstein really not finding good comfort. 2 runners aboard now for North Platte. Haggard at first, Jones at second. 2-0 lead with Connor Stifler up to bat. And that's what makes this start so confusing, because you'll see a couple of some good speed pitches from Reichstein, but then you'll see some that are just so far out the zone you think to yourself, boy, howdy, did he even warm up this morning?
Well, we've seen at times he's been able to get ahead in the count.
Yeah, which is the craziest part. Like right here, I think his last 3 batters, he's been 0-2 in the count, but just hasn't been able to close it out. Now against Connor Stifler, first baseman Parker Hodgen just touching the infield dirt, expecting potentially a bunt from Stifler. 0-2. Oh, my mama, that one was mighty close to making its way into the zone. That was right at the letters, but just too high. Ball number 1. Great patience from Stifler not to take a swing, because I thought that all the way was a strike from the start of that pitch. 1-2 with 1 out. Next pitch, swing and a miss, and down goes Connor Stifler. That's fouled right off into the glove of Adam Rutt. First strikeout today for Jacob Reichstein, and now with 2 down in this inning, here comes Ty Hanneborg. Still another batter late in the inning, late in the order here, who can produce some big hits. And if you're head coach Ricky Holm, maybe you feel 2 runs just isn't enough at the moment, knowing how explosive this Hastings offense can be, putting up 9 runs the last time these 2 teams faced each other. Honestly, that 9-8 mark, I think, has been reached 3 times in their past 3 seasons, these 2 teams, when they've played each other. Already on track for that with a 2-0 lead for Great Plains Health. Off-speed pitch from Reichstein in there, strike number 1. Due up next, Easton Geisler, the designated hitter, and then left fielder Cade Songster, as Easton Jones will now get checked out, being courtesy run by Tyler Townsend. Good to see him back out on the diamond. Had an elbow injury a couple weeks ago, ran into the outside fence and busted up his elbow. But, of course, after all the examinations, not as severe as they originally thought. He's out there courtesy running for Jones. Has a big fastball at the knees and in. Strike number 2. And now I'm starting to feel Reichstein picking up his pitches so far. Last two batters, including this one, much better. 0-2 to Ty Hanneborg. 2 runners on the base pads at second and first for Great Plains Health. The pitch, little tap. We're going to go on over to Shagru. Easy throw to second, and that's how this inning will come to an end. But the damage was done early on. A 2-0 lead for North Platte in this top of the first inning. 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors on either side. We'll step aside and take a break. When we come back here to Billwood Field, it's now time for Hastings to take their hitting stances on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Paxton and Jake here. We are chilling, and we are having some big smiles on our faces so far. Great Plains Health Post 163 leading 2-0 over the number one seed in this A7 district. 2-0. 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors for North Platte. No runs, no hits, no errors. Half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B, as well as Premier Toyota. Premier Toyota just south of I-80 in North Platte invites you to stop out, take a test drive today of all their new and pre-owned vehicles. Again, Premier Toyota, let's go places. What'd you like about that first inning for North Platte? Yes, they got those 2 runs across, and again, struck blood first. What was your favorite? What was the best part about that? As before we get to that, lopped out to center field there, and collecting the first out is Caden Johnson. So there's first out on the first pitch to Isaiah Shaw. But back to you, Jake. What'd you like about the first inning from North Platte?
Well, I thought that North Platte did a good job of letting the opponent make the mistake. They saw the pitcher starting to get a little bit shaky up there on the mound. They didn't take any bad swings. They just let the game come to them and took advantage of it.
As here's Parker Hodgen up to bat versus Easton Jones for the first time. Blazing fastball from Jones in for strike number 1, and that's been really the deficiency for North Platte maybe in this last couple of weeks, as they've really taken some bad swings against pitchers that have been struggling on the mound, and it's led them to some bad positions, in the latter half of their, offense, or getting in good rhythm. I think the word is rhythm I want to use. So the fact that they let Reichstein get off to that bad start is a good sign to hopefully keep the rest of the way, as currently a 1-2 count into Parker Hodgen, who is moving over to first base following the injury in warm-ups to Thompson, who was slated to be starting at first base. Fastball from Easton Jones upstairs for ball 2. Jones 29 1/3 innings pitched. Currently is second on the team, but many would clarify him as North Platte's de facto ace this season. 2-2. Hard hit ball that's going to go on over to Ty Handeborg at short. Throw on over to first in time, and there's out number 2. Of course, the statistic best pitcher for North Platte during the high school season, Cade Freeze, went to Prospect. Got a word with him today. He's back in town. Doing pretty good out there. He's got, from when I talked, 10 college offers. So
wow.
Prospect showing a very good mark on Cade Freeze. But a quick 2 outs already in this bottom of the first inning for 5 points. Mank Hastings, Jackson Shagru, shortstop, up to bat now. With 2 down, Easton Jones putting a quick inning to lead off here. You're talking about those elements and not letting it, it add to the, the attrition of a baseball game. How about a quick 1-2-3 inning and only 6 pitches so far for Easton Jones, as he'll laser one in. Strike number 1. Following Shagru, Caleb Wallmeyer on deck and Nick Musel in the hole. That one slicing foul towards the parking lot. That's a quick 0-2 count. Just like we're talking about with Reichstein, towards the end, he was really starting to get up in the count. So far for Easton Jones, he's been putting them up, putting them down. Can he make it a quick 1-2-3 for Great Plains Health on the defensive side, as that one popped high into the sky? Landon Greeno calling the Hounds off. He gets underneath it, and there's the grab. And that's how this inning will come to an end. 1-2-3 for Great Plains Health. Great start for Easton Jones on the mound. Can they continue that into the offensive side of things here in the top of the second inning? You'll have to find out when we come back. FM 98.1, AM 1410, the live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. A 2-0 lead for Great Plains Health. Post 163 here in game number 1 for them of the A7 District Tournament. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, top of the second inning. The number 1 seeded 5 Points Bank Hastings trailing the number 6 seeded North Platte and the Great Plains Health Post 163 senior team. 2-0 with Easton Geisler up to bat. Geisler, after starting the season below 190 from a hitting standpoint, now climbing all the way up to 255. He's already quickly down in the hole 0-2, though, to Jacob Reichstein. Our half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group at his location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B, and in 3 straight pitches, down goes Easton Geisler. So after a rough start in the first inning, and just, one pitcher, one batter that Reichstein has seen, he's already looking more locked in than he did originally.
Yeah, he's completely flipped the switch so far. I don't know if they talked to him out in the dugout or what, but it's looked like a completely different arm.
Now he's facing off against Cade Songster, the left fielder, and that's 4 straight pitches into the zone from Reichstein. Again, North Platte faced Reichstein earlier this season in the high school year when he was at Adams Central and kind of bonked him up a bit on the score total as Songster takes a big whiff and a miss. Following Songster, back to the top of the order, Caden Johnson and Jackson Peters for North Platte. Ooh, as that one's in the dirt and will bounce away. Reichstein kind of tripping as he was planting his foot down. So there's ball number 1 to Songster, but more importantly, hoping Reichstein didn't twist his ankle as out comes head coach Marquardt. Was going to come out, now he's going to look like have a conversation with.
I think he's just double-checking.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Maybe stepped on a weird patch of that dirt.
Which has happened before for North. One and 2 the count here for Reichstein to Cade Songster, and he swings and misses. Second strikeout today for Reichstein, and just like that, Hastings with their own 2 up, 2 down. As you said, man, flipping that switch, and that just goes to show how, while he may be the second best pitcher, that 5-0 is not a mark that you can scoff off his luck. Adams Central's best pitcher by a country mile now. He's throwing his next pitch into Caden Johnson, who singled off a Reichstein in his first plate appearance.
Yeah, this is the part of the order where he was struggling earlier. We'll see if he can recover it.
As the 0-1. Little looper out to right field, but getting up underneath it is Isaiah Shaw, and with no movement at all, will collect the final out of this inning, and that's a 1-2-3 for North Platte in this top of the second. We'll go now to the bottom of the second inning. Can they continue with the defensive domination on the mound from Easton Jones? Well, you're going to have to find out. We come back here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field. I'm Paxton Gordon. Jake Schwantz with me here today is, again, given the ropes. He's a pro at this point. He might actually take I can sit back and kind of almost retire at this point. He's been taking control of my board, and he's been doing a great job at it, and so has Great Plains Health, currently leading 2-0 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. Talked about how, Jacob Reichstein really starting to get into his motion, but Easton Jones in that first inning, quick 1-2-3. You talked about the attrition, hoping that goes again here with a quick inning for North Platte, same around?
Yeah, it looks like it might be because, I mean, he didn't have to sit in that dugout for very long. The top of this inning was pretty quick.
Would you take, now, of course, this is deep into the pitching, shoes of it. Would you take a quick inning, to still stay in rhythm, or would you kind of take maybe a longer inning to get some extra relaxation and to make sure your stamina is fully tipped up? As next pitch, 2-0. Upstairs for ball 3, but what would you prefer? Would you prefer short innings or quick innings, or longer innings, I say?
I think it depends on the part of the game that you're in. Early on, I think I'd want to get out there quick.
As 3-0, and we've gone the other way this time. That's a walk to Caleb Wallmeyer to lead off this inning for the side of Hastings offensively. Nick Musil up next, and for the first time today, a runner gets on first for 5 Points Bank Hastings. After Musil, it'll be Liam Dyer and then Adam Rutt. It's going to be an interesting time now with the runner at first. Jones has been a pitcher who has, again, as we've seen, shown in the first inning that he can dominate the strike zone pretty effectively, but also has that weird double-edged sword where he'll have a few pitches and maybe an inning where he can't hit the strike zone or walk somebody on 4 pitches. And so far off to a good start in this at-bat against Nick Musil in for strike number 1. Runner on over to first being Caleb Wallmeyer is a steal threat for 5 Points Bank Hastings, but maybe don't want to give a test against Dean McIntyre, who has quite a laser of a cannon behind home plate. That's going to skip away just a little bit from McIntyre, but not far enough to move Nick Musil. 1-1. Nobody out. 2-0 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard. 2 runs, 1 hit for Great Plains Health, post 163, the 6th seed. No runs, no hits, no errors for 5 Points Bank Hastings. As pickoff attempt will get Wallmeyer back. Gets there in plenty of time. One of Easton Jones' strong suits is that quick pickoff. So far this season has gotten 6 batters with a pickoff in the games that I've seen. And Wallmeyer's going to have to keep an eye, and that might be it right there. Oh! Landon Greeno just barely missed on the first attempt. And because of that, Wallmeyer is able to get back just in time. There it was right there. This time didn't cast or cursed it, but almost had it. 1-1 still to Nick Musil. With a runner at first. Jones will line it up. Swing and a miss. There's strike number 2 to Nick Musil. 1-2 with nobody out. 16 total pitches so far for Easton Jones. Been pretty pitch efficient. Another pickoff attempt. The funny thing about Easton Jones, he's somebody who's just not afraid to pick a guy off at first more than one time. Over the weekend at the Kearney tournament, he picked a guy off 9 times between 2 different batters. Did he get it out? No, he did not. He actually stole a base. So, there goes one. Caleb Wallmeyer on over to second. Great throw from McIntyre, but not in time. Good jump from Caleb Wallmeyer as he scampers on over to second with the stolen base. As down goes at the same time, Nick Musil strikeout swinging, but man, oh man, McIntyre had put quite some oomph behind it because Wallmeyer got a great jump on over at first.
Yeah, we've seen some really good throws down to second from both teams in this game so far.
And that's just going to make things so much easier because if this game's going to be as close as we see so far, it might come down to those smaller type of plays, whether it be a pickoff at first or a throw out on somebody stealing to second. But runner in scoring position for Hastings, Liam Dyer, the next batter up for 5 Points Bank Hastings so far this season, 263 on the batting average, as the 1-0 is fouled back to that netting. Strike 1. 1-1 the count. Runner in scoring position. Still North Platte with a 2-0 lead. The game-tying run is at home plate. Adam Rutt on deck. Jaron Johnson in the hole for Hastings. Still, only 1 hit has been accrued so far by either squad combined. That, of course, going to North Platte. So far, a very good pitcher's duel as that gets away from McIntyre, and that's an easy waltz on over to third for Caleb Wallmeyer. And there it is, a little small, itsy-bitsy mistake for Dean McIntyre. Now, runner in scoring position, a game of, you hear football coaches say it all the time, game of inches, and that little inch of missed glove potentially could cost North Platte a run. And another pitch from Jones just above the lettering for ball 3. And now staring down the barrel, Liam Dyer, is of a walk to put runners at the corners with 1 out. Infield almost touching the grass for North Platte as that one is skied out to center field. Caden Johnson making his way over to grab it. Good glove. Tagging up is Wallmeyer, but won't take the chance as Caden Johnson with a great throw will stop Wallmeyer. And that's what Caden Johnson does so well on center field. He's got the speed, but surprisingly also got that arm. If you, of course, Jake don't know, Caden Johnson, North Platte High football quarterback, so it's not shocking to see him make these types of throws on out from center field. And now comes the new catcher for this game, of course, with Thompson going down with a broken nose. Poor Adam Rutt, who wasn't slated to start today, had to be inserted into the lineup. Hitting from the catcher position and the 7-hole, Jaron Johnson on deck, and the 8-hole with Royer DeLora in the hole for Hastings. As the infield shifting its way over. Hard ground ball into the glove of Ty Hanneborg. Easy throw to first. And that's how this inning ends. North Platte avoids danger with a runner in scoring position. They keep Hastings scoreless through 2 innings. We now go to the top of the 3rd. 2-0 lead for North Platte when we come back here to Billwood Field on FM 98.1. AM 1410 and live streaming at northplattepost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Paxton and Jake joining you from the press box. Currently a 2-0 lead for North Platte. And, you know, even though we're early on in this game, we're staring down potentially the barrel of a pitching duel right now, which I think is both the scariest type of game that you can have when you're leading 2-0, but also probably would prefer that against a team like Hastings, which is just so well-rounded. Keep them off the base pads as much as possible, and Easton Jones so far doing a good job of that. Again, 2-0 on our wicked fast scoreboard. 1 hit, 2 runs for North Platte compared to the no runs, no hits for 5 Points Bank Hastings. Either team has yet to be assessed an error. Our half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. Its location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. As well as another round in Rivers Edge Golf Club. It's a beautiful day to go out on the course, so what are you doing? Go call Rivers Edge today, get your tee time set up, and go have some fun out on the golf course. But actually, more importantly, you should probably come down here to the baseball park because it's a great game so far. 2-0 early on. Both teams' best pitchers on the mound. As first pitch into Jackson Peters is ball number 1. He walked in his last plate appearance versus Jacob Reichstein. And so far, that one around the knees, but in for strike number 1. Of course, talked in our Owls Log and Safe keys to the game. North Platte needs to keep a consistent bat in terms of not overextending. So far, have done a good job of not taking some bad swings. But what are you kind of looking more out of their hitting, currently not just right now, but later down in the inning? So, as I said earlier, during their tournament games over the weekend, 3 of their 4 games only accrued 4 hits in those contests. As the 2-1 down low for ball 3. But what are you looking for from North Platte's hitting to come away with this victory today?
Well, when you talk about how this game has been such a pitcher's duel, you got to take advantage when runners get on base. It's so hard to get on.
As a 3-1 down low for ball 4, and for the second straight time, Jackson Peters walks on over to first base.
So, yeah, this is an example of it right here. It's a low-scoring game. You have the lead. You have to find a way to take advantage. Still around top, maybe nearing the middle of the order now.
And here's where things are going to get really interesting, is now time's going to be called for Einstein to get a new ball. We talk about how I think important today maybe the catching position is going to be in those throws to second, because North Platte, being who they have been for the past 5 seasons with head coach, maybe 6 seasons with head coach Ricky Holm, a team that will steal super aggressive. And when you have somebody like Jackson Peters at first, wouldn't be shocked if we see him steal. So it might be playing a big portion of today's game is, can somebody get thrown out when they try to steal, as Landon Greeno fouls one to the North Platte dugout for strike number 1. And both teams have shown, even early on in the limited amount of steals that have come across from either side, that got some good throwing catchers behind home plate today. And as you said, those little small things. Who can eke out the advantage as Peters gets back on a pickoff attempt from Reichstein. Landon Greeno was hit by a pitch at his ankle last time he was up to bat. Currently an 0-1 count. As here's another pickoff attempt as Peters gets back. Last 2 attempts, Hodgen might have had the upper end and maybe potentially laying a tag down, but just didn't even attempt to try and tag Peters. 0-1, there goes Jackson Peters. Greeno will hit one into center field. Peters rounding on third. Will coach bring him home? He's not going to bring him home. And he is going to bring him home, as that's going to go away from Jackson Shagru. Look at that. A little bit of some mistakes in the outfield in terms of getting the ball into the infield, and Jackson Shagru making his own mistake, not being able to hold on to that ball, and just like that, Jackson Peters on a steal attempt makes his way all the way home, and it's 3-0 for North Platte.
And that's the danger of the speed on this team. You score all the way from first. Obviously took that early jump to second, but when you can score like that in a tight game like this, could be the difference maker.
That's what I'm saying. You know, every run counts. That's how I view it right now. Every run matters when you're facing the number 1 team, whether it be Hastings today or Millard South in a different week. If you're facing a team that's as good as this, you just got to take every small little advantage that they give you, and sometimes take that big swing, because Peters could have stayed at third base. As it's quickly a 2-0 count from Reichstein to Easton Jones. North Platte can take that little risk, running Peters home, and paid off. Mistake from Shagru, and now it's 3-0 for Great Plains Health, post 163 over 5 Points Bank Hastings. As Stein's next pitch. Going to get away from the catcher there, Adam Rutt. Landon Greeno takes his strut on over to second. And so far, really 3 different innings we've seen from Jacob Reichstein, as first inning didn't look so good. Second inning, looked really locked in. This inning, off to get into that rough start.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be his next step of development, finding a little bit more consistency up there every single inning.
And this is the same kind of, you hate to say defect, but same thing as there goes Easton Jones getting walked on over to first. Same thing he showed during the high school season for Adams Central. Again, he was their best pitcher at Adams Central, a team that was just loaded with talent. But he had the same problems, looked good in certain innings, but then also got rocked in another, as Blake Marquardt will come out and have a conversation with Mike Stein. Dean McIntyre up next, walked in his last plate appearance. Looks to be just a normal conversation, nobody warming up in the bullpen for 5 Point Bank Hastings. But again, if you're head coach Ricky Holm, you're probably smiling ear to ear at this point, because you're up 3-0 early on. Easton Jones has looked lights out when he's come up to pitch. The question you pondered earlier, can they continue this momentum through the rest of the game? Because that has also been a huge stickler for this North Platte team, is, we'll see them have these nice, comfortable leads cruising through games, and then all of a sudden, one inning, something happens, whether it be a small little hit that then piles onto a small little error that then compounds into 2 runs, into 3 runs, and the next thing you know, it's 19-7 at that point. The game's already over. So it's all about how can you avoid those little small mistakes that then lead up to big time errors.
Well, they've been aggressive at the proper moments, I think. We see the signal to send him home rounding third, and that's a defensive mistake. You got to take advantage of those, rare moments in the game, and that's exactly what they've been doing today.
And so far, it's been playing in their favor. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of a deal with the devil to get things to go your way. 2 runners aboard. Easton Jones at first, Greeno at second for Dean McIntyre, who walked in his last plate appearance. Parker Hodgen on the infield grass, expecting potentially a bunt as Mike Stein will step off and get refocused in. 3-0 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard here in game number 1 for Great Plains Health, post 163. Fastball in the zone for strike number 1. Stifler, Mr. Connor Stifler on deck, Ty Hanneborg in the hole. So after Dean McIntyre, 2 hitters that are so far 0 for 1. Over the weekend in the last game, North Platte left 10 men stranded on the base pad. So the complete opposite of what has happened so far today when they've taken advantage of those runners in scoring position. North Platte last weekend really struggled on Sunday to produce those runs when they had opportunities to. It's the 0-1. Another pitch that just cuts at the wrong time outside of the zone for Reichstein for ball 1. 1-1 the count on our wicked fast scoreboard. Have you downloaded the My Phillips 66 app yet? If not, you're missing out on so much savings with Wicked Fast. 2 runners still aboard for North Platte. 1-1 to McIntyre. That's a fastball that creeps upstairs for ball 2. It's really tough to kind of get a feel of, which side of Mike Stein I'm going to be seeing when he comes up to plate, because, again, we'll watch some of those pitches and be like, yep, that's a good pitcher out there. And the next thing you know, just like that pitch right there, it's drifting up out of the zone. And now it's 3-1. Another potential bases loaded situation for Great Plains Health, and there's still nobody out in this inning. Top of the 3rd inning, 3-0 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163 as McIntyre takes a costly swing at a ball that was in the dirt. Strike number 2, so that would have been a definitive walk, and now we got some action already heading out in the bullpen for Hastings. It looks like Ashton Hawes will be out there. I believe Krejci as well. As that one, little loop run over to third. They'll step on 1 bag, and then they'll step on 2 to get the double play. That is an unfortunate turn of events. That little grounder on over to third, picked up by Wallmeyer, who then steps on third and then throws to second. And that's a fielder's choice for Dean McIntyre, but unfortunately what would have been a great opportunity for Great Plains Health will now turn to dust as the double play is turned, and out goes both Landon Greeno and Easton Jones. For Connor Stifler up to bat, struck out swinging in his last plate appearance against Reichstein, and it'll be interesting how long will Hastings keep with Reichstein even after a pretty good double play he just turned. So far, though, 52 pitches for Jacob Reichstein. 30 strikes, 22 balls. Runner at first being Tommy Haggard. As here's a pickoff attempt. Haggard gets back. Now, this has been a couple of pickoff attempts that have been thrown to Parker Hodgen where he's had a great opportunity to apply a tag, but really hasn't attempted that. I don't know how I feel about that, because there might have been some free outs for Hastings if he even attempted slightly, not even at a full pace to make those tags.
Yeah, some of the throws have been a little high, but that one, you're right. I mean, it was right near the bag.
So, following that pickoff attempt, Stifler looking for his first pitch from Mike Stein, as there it goes. Oh boy, upstairs on that fastball again. Ball number 1, almost entering a whole new stratosphere with how high up it was. So Hastings already warming up a pitcher in their bullpen with a 3-0 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163. Wow, that's a great play. Ooh! As even though Tommy Haggard gets back, Reichstein essentially getting himself adjusted, then throws a quick pickoff to first, and there's another one that might almost get Tommy Haggard if Parker Hodgen held on to that ball. So back-to-back pickoffs that would have gotten Haggard with 2 outs in this inning, and now the opposite has been turned. Now Hodgson trying to make those tangs all the time. 1-0 the count to Connor Stifler, with 1 runner on at first base being Tommy Haggart. As Reichstein's 1-0 pitch. That's above the lettering. Ball 2. 24 balls for Reichstein, 30 strikes in his 54 pitches through 3 innings. So, yeah, I'm not shocked to be seeing a new pitcher warming up with how many throws have already been attempted by Reichstein. Another pickoff attempt. I think that is I think we're at the 5th pickoff attempt in this at-bat for Tommy Haggart at first. 2-0 the count. Reichstein gets the sign from Rutt, delivering. A little tapper that gets through his glove, but that'll probably be an easy out at second, and it will be. And that's how this inning comes to an end, though 1 run did come across for Great Plains Health. They slightly increased their lead now 3-0 on 2 hits, no errors on their defensive side. No runs, no hits, no errors for 5 Points Bank Hastings. We come back to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. It's American Legion A7 District Playoffs here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. 3-0 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163, as they currently hold that over the number 1 seed of 5 Points Bank Hastings in what has been a short 3 innings so far. Got to be pretty happy with how North Platte has played. I know you haven't seen them over the weekend, but coming into today 0-3, and to be completely honest, looking like a completely different team so far through this very, again, we'll say it, short opening stint to the ballgame. As first pitch from Easton Jones at the knees and in to Jaron Johnson. And I think the real question is, how much do you think, it's going to start cooling down now, but this early lead, how much of a benefit do you think that's going to be to North Platte? That's going to be a bouncer off of Easton Jones's glove and then fly just barely through Ty Handelborg's glove. And just like that, there's the first hit today for 5 Points Bank Hastings. Speaking, I just curse that. You just curse it right there. I do. But you got to be still pretty happy with 3 innings. There's Hastings' first hit. And Easton Jones, outside of that, has looked like he's been unfaltered by this number 1 seeded team.
Yeah, it's been a great start so far, but even something as simple as that, just a quick comebacker right into center field, can change the tide of the game.
And North Platte is well adverse to something like that happening in terms of being an altering, play. Again, it's very small, minute, something that maybe us would sit here and say, oh, that can't be too much of a real burden or game changer, and it flips things on the head. So maybe this is a different, coming into today, hopefully, North Platte team, so that won't falter them too much, as Royer DeLaura now up to bat, has a batter at first being Jaron Johnson with nobody out. Jacoby Silos is on the grass, expecting potentially a bunt from DeLaura. As the 0-1 from Jones. Big swing and a miss on another fastball. Boy, Jones is locked in with that fastball today. A lot of the batters have just been either behind, mostly been behind on his pitches when it comes to that fastball. And looking for another strikeout, would be 3 today. If he can hit it right here, the runner's still at first and nobody out. The pitch. Fastball high up and inside, but there's ball number 1. Following Delora, Isaiah Shaw, who's a leadoff batter, will start us off up next, and then Parker Hodgen in the hole for 5 points, Bank Hastings. 1-2 the count now to Delora, as Jones will once again try to pick off Johnson at first. 3 runs, 2 hits, no errors on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. Thank you to our half-inning break sponsor, Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. As well as Dr. Chris Kroll and his crew at Kroll Clinkins. There goes the runner on over to second. Great throw from McIntyre. He gets the tag. Ty Hanneborg does. Not only is that an out for Delora, but they also get the runner trying to steal third. And you were talking about how can North Platte not get too caught up in that short little mistake, but they're getting thrown out trying to steal his way to second. Johnson, and there's 2 down in this inning.
That's a massive throw. We talked about it already here tonight, how we've been really impressed by the arm strength behind the dish for both of these teams. And right there, that's one of the first actually caught stealing we've seen.
And Jaron Johnson got a fantastic jump from first base as there's a laser down the center from Easton Jones to Isaiah Shaw. I mean, he got a pretty healthy jump at first, but McIntyre was expecting it all the way, and he threw himself a laser on over to second. So instead of a runner being at first with nobody out, there's now 2 down because Easton Jones also got that strikeout. So a double whammy for Hastings offense as they're now staring down the barrel of nobody on and 2 down in this inning. As there's a big swing and a miss by Shaw. It's 1-2. North Platte looking totally locked in today. So exciting and so happy to see, because of the way they ended that Hastings Kearney tournament, you kind of were sitting there going like, ooh, boy, it might not be a ceremonious, first district game when you knew they were coming in as a 6 seed. So to see them kind of mentally reset and come out so far super strong against the number 1 team, it's got to make you think, if they close this out, is this the same team we're going to be seeing the rest of the way? Is that's back-to-back pitches from Easton Jones that have been high and away and have gone almost to the backstop. So it's 3-2 to Isaiah Shaw. He flew out to Caden Johnson in the very first pitch of this ball game. On our Wicked Fast scoreboard, a 3-0 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163. As Jones, with his full count pitch, in there, strike 3, down goes Isaiah Shaw looking. That is the 4th strikeout for Jones, and just like that, the inning is now over. We go to the top of the 4th, 3-0 lead for North Platte when we come back to Billwood Field. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming at northplattepost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field. Paxton, Jake, my lucky charm. I was talking to him during the break. He was talking about how so far he feels like he's been a lucky charm wherever he's gone, and I feel like I've been the black sheep ever since I've come here for the success of some programs. But maybe we're canceling each other out, and so far for Great Plains Health post 163, Easton Jones is just putting a cancel to this Hastings offense. They've only accrued 1 hit, no runs. 3 runs, 2 hits on our Wicked Fast scoreboard for Great Plains Health. And, man, we were talking about it, man, they're just cruising. They're just cruising right now. And I think the best part about it is the next pitch from Eichstein's at the knees and in. it feels like everyone feels relaxed. You can see in the dugout, everyone's walking around feeling, not only locked in, but mostly relaxed. As 1-0, Reichstein upstairs. Ball 2. Half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B, as well as Hands of Heartland. Hands of Heartland has offered support and services for those with developmental disabilities in Nebraska since 1998, and are bringing those services to the North Platte area. 3-1 count from Reichstein here to Ty Hanneborg, who grounded out in his last plate appearance. That one around the knees. Oh, and in, and Hanneborg not agreeing with that call, but great pitch framing from Adam Rudd. It did look at one point maybe a little too low, but got it brought back into the zone, and just like that, strike number 2. Can Reichstein find the first out of this inning? The 3-2 pitch. Oh, and that's going to go right behind Adam Rutt all the way to the backstop. And there's a leadoff walk to start this top of the 4th inning. Now, my greatest fear is the next pitcher who will come in here, Adam Haas will probably, put the lights out. It's just how it goes with relief pitchers. He'll shut the door. But so far for North Platte, probably this inning you want to continue to extend that lead, knowing probably after this inning, Reichstein probably going to go out with how many warm-up pitches have been thrown in the Hastings dugout for the relief pitcher that will be coming in. There's an off-speed to, boy, howdy, man. Easton Geisler, ball 1. It's kind of eye-opening just how bad today Jacob Reichstein has been after even 5-0 all season, looking lights out for Hastings. Looking like just an average pitcher. I hate to say that because, he'd probably trounce me any day of the week. But not looking like it's his best game at the most important mark as another pitch down low for ball 2. If you were the Hastings coach, what's your opinion to tell him to focus in? Because he's going to need to find something quickly or this game's going to continue to get out of hand.
Well, it's tough, right? Because obviously the roster size is not massive, so you don't have a million pitchers to go to. So you are kind of hoping for a little bit of longevity from a starter.
As that pitch, another one out on around the head in terms of its height for ball 3. And that would put 2 runners aboard. Ty Hanneborg, who is a steal threat at first, but probably not going to take any advantage of that stealing, with Easton Geisler now up 3-0 against Reichstein. 64 pitches today, and we're already at the top of the 4th inning for Reichstein. 33 strikes, 31 balls as 3-0. There's ball 4. Wouldn't be shocked if Blake Marquardt comes out to have a conversation with his pitcher to get him refocused in. Because there's 2 runners aboard now with nobody out. Yep, there he is. He's coming out to have a conversation. And now the question is this going to be the end for Reichstein? But I think, especially after that pitch, time needed to be called because it's just slowly but steadily falling apart. Yep, that'll do it for Reichstein. He's done here today. That's actually just quite shocking if you're a Hastings fan, because Carlos Jimenez has been the best pitcher for Hastings statistically, and literally right behind him has been Jacob Reichstein, and only lasted here till the top of the 4th inning. 3 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs on 2 hits, all of those earned. And if you're Hastings coach, you're probably crossing your fingers, speaking to the Lord himself, saying, can we finally get things calmed down here today?
And I think even more than that is you're hoping for some run support at this point. It's only 3 runs scratched across for North Platte. So a lot of this has to do with the offense. I mean, on a normal day, a normal offensive day, you give up 3 runs. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yes.
But the combination of the disappearance of offense as well as some free passes, aggressive base running from North Platte, it's kind of where they've gone wrong.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that even stings more, because you said 3-0 here in the top of the 4th inning. If you've scored 2 runs on your own, it isn't the end of the world. But the fact that the offense has been shut out as much as it has been against that North Platte has done so far, just kind of keeps amplifying it. So every single walk, every single ball just keeps stacking and stacking to the point again now where you have 2 runners aboard, and now you're pulling in a relief pitcher with nobody out, hoping, all right, is this the time? And as you said, this tournament, while it may look short in terms of it being 3 days, you still play a lot of the games, and if your pitcher can't even get past the 3rd inning, That's already an arm that's probably blown for potentially up to the championship game. That's on Sunday, as Adam Krejci will now take over on the mound for 5 Points Bank Hastings. And if you're Blake Marquardt, you're sitting there, again, crossing your fingers, hoping that this is the change to settle things down. Now, offensively, don't know how that's going to fix the problem right now. You got to give credit to North Platte and Easton Jones, who has been shutting down this very high-powered Hastings offense. That's another part we should, give some good attribution to. But if this goes bad quickly for Hastings, you're staring down the barrel of what's the next move. Would you bring another pitcher in? Because if you want to pitch a player without any days of rest, they have to pitch less than 20 pitches. So if Krejci can't, get that to that point, and you're at the risk of blowing another arm as a fake pickoff attempt gets Ty Hanneborg back. Cade Songster up next, struck out swinging in his last plate appearance. Runners at first and second. Hanneborg at second. Easton Geisler at first. There is a Parker Hodgen at first base for Hastings defensively on the grass, expecting potentially a bunt from Songster as first pitch strike number one. Haven't seen a lot of bunting today from North Platte. That is something that they over that Hastings weekend did a lot. Or I say did a lot of attempted unsuccessfully a lot of those plays. Would you in this moment go for that bunt potentially here?
I mean, in this situation, you wouldn't be opposed to it, especially if you like the speed out there on the base path.
Stepping off there is Krejci, and two runners are still aboard. It is quite interesting because Ty Hanneborg, very speedy. Easton Geisler, not the quickest of fellas out there at first base, so if you're bunting, you're probably risking a potential easy throw out at second. But so far, Hastings defensively at first and third playing like expecting Songster to bunt, and there he is right there attempting said bunt. It's 1-1 now to Cade Songster. And the scariest part for Krejci is, guess who's up next? Top of the order for North Platte, statistically the best part of their lineup this season. And if you're a relief pitcher who right now is all in the first two pitches kind of looking a little iffy in his command of the zone, those are not the batters you want to be seeing to potentially load the bases in your first relief appearance in the inning. So 1-1, the count, nobody out. Two runners aboard for Great Plains Health, post 163. There's a pickoff attempt, and that's going to easily get Ty Hanneborg as he just got all tricked up as Shagru moved around the bag, and then DeLauro ran his way on over to second, and Ty Hanneborg gets caught up in that easy mix-up, and he gets tagged down. There's out number one. Good play from Krejci on the mound to get that pickoff and alleviate some of the threat of what North Platte had at second base. One out now. Runner at first being Easton Geisler as Songster fouls that back for strike number two. And this is almost the same situation that Hastings had an inning ago. They had a runner at first, and then all of a sudden, just like that, two are down in the inning. So North Platte trying to avoid that mark, as it's 1-2 to the left fielder Cade Songster with one out, as Krejci will now pick off, or attempt to pick off, Easton Geisler, who gets back. 1-2 on our wicked fast scoreboard. There's that pitch and a big swing and a miss, and for the second time today, Cade Songster strikes out swinging. And there's two outs in this inning for Caden Johnson. He flew out in his last plate appearance to Isaiah Shaw in right field. Now has a runner on over at first, being Easton Geisler. Singled in his first plate appearance off Reichstein. And let's see what Johnson can do here against Krejci, who so far in his relief has gotten a quick two outs.
Yeah, early in the inning, it looked like it was going nowhere fast, but over the past couple of minutes, it's turned around.
As that one's going to be lopped in. You see, you just had to speak it into existence as that's lopped into left field for a base hit. The Castor curse is real and already turned right back on its head as Caden Johnson will single into left field with Jackson Peters up to bat. So far today for Peters, he's yet to record a statistic as he's been walked twice. So, make it 3 for 3. looking pretty good so far for young Jackson Peters, with old reliable Landon Greeno on deck and Easton Jones in the hole. Great Plains Health post 163. Again, in these limited pitches, it's really tough to see, what Krejci's kind of got winding up in terms of his consistency. As his first pitch around the knees is in pretty good for strike number 1. As 0-1 the count. Again, if you're Blake Marquardt, head coach for Hastings, you're just praying that Aiden Krejci will just hold the fort down as best they can until the offense comes alive. But the next pitch going the opposite way in terms of balls and strikes, as there's ball number 1 to Jackson Peters. Again, has walked twice on our game stats. Brought to you in part by State Farm agent Bobby Holst, my insurance agent. So I can give some good testimonials to the services she provides, as there's a strike down the middle. It's 1-2 now to Jackson Peters. Haven't seen him swing much today because he's just been walked straight up. Both of his appearances might need a big hit here to keep the inning alive. 1-2. And that's pulled outside. 2-1. Trust me, I would have probably been swinging on that pitch, and that's probably why I'm up here, not down there. Looked good at first, but then just as it made its way towards the catcher, just kept pulling and pulling out of the zone. 2-2. Slicing foul off the bat of Jackson Peters. And there's another 2-2 attempt to the right fielder. If Jackson Peters somehow, some way can get aboard, I have good faith that Landon Greeno might be able to produce some good things in these high-pressure situations. That's what Greeno's really lived for and provided over the years. Some big hits. That would most certainly also load the bases. Runner at first and second. Johnson at first. Geisler at second. 2 down. The 2-2 from Aiden Krejci. Oh, my, and it's just a smidge outside. That's a lot of gut there from Peters not to swing, and it's 3-2 the count now. Full count with 2 outs. Big pitch here for Aiden Krejci, as he'll get the sign from Rutt. Glance at second and wind up. Check swing. They're going to say he went around. They are going to say in the throw on over to first, and that's how this inning comes to an end. Drop third strike. Unfortunately, will cost Jackson Peters, and with that, we're going to go now to the bottom of the 4th inning. Oh, man, if he didn't swing, that would have been an easy walk, but fortunately, not how that play went. And with that, we now go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 3-0 lead for Great Plains Health. Post 163. We come back to Bill Wood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Bill Wood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. Bottom of the 4th inning, a 3-0 lead for Great Plains Health. Post 163, 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors on their side. No runs, 1 hit, and then no errors for the side of 5 Points Bank Hastings, as they are, so far, again, offensively struggling to find a way to, as you said, get that offensive momentum going. That's probably what cost Jacob Reichstein his start for today as Parker Hodgen, who grounded out to Ty Hanneborg in his first plate appearance, now checks in. Jones is 0-1, just outside for ball number 1. As we talk about, can North Platte continue this real good, not only efficiency, but aggression, as another pitch that almost hits the exact same spot outside for ball 2 to Parker Hodgen. Again, grounded out to Hanneborg. Last at bat. Jackson Shagru on deck. Caleb Wallmeyer in the hole. Big fastball that Hodgen will miss on. There's strike number 2. Winds pretty calm at the moment, so hasn't been playing a factor at all in today's ball game. Jones looking for his 5th strikeout today, winds up the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Parker Hodgen. And there's the first out of this inning. And you want to, again, talk about a pitcher that's gone the completely opposite way of Jacob Reichstein. Easton Jones has just been locked in from that first pitch. And since then, it's really been smooth sailing for him.
Yeah, he's been a big part of this lead so far. And the few times where he's kind of had some mistakes, the defense has picked him up right away.
As first pitch, an off-speed pitch into Jackson Shagru is in the dirt for ball number 1. And that's kind of been a little bit of the hope and prayer for North Platte as the sun really getting into the eyes of the infield. Even with glasses on, poor Jacoby Silos can't see, but the next pitch from Jones will seek its way in. That's kind of been the, I'll wait for the next pitch. Hard hit ball on over to Ty Hanneborg. Easy grab and throw to first for out number 2. The question and the problem this season is North Platte hasn't been able to really, a lot of the time, string that together. You'll have a game where pitcher looks really good, but he hasn't been able to not only get the run support, but the defensive support as well, or it's the other way around. Defense looks good, offense is hitting, but the pitching hasn't been clicking, and it almost feels like, again, divine destiny that at the start of the districts, everything starts to come together. I don't know what it is, but sometimes, as they say it in the basketball world, first pitch from Easton Jones to Wallmeyer's outside, some people are just gamers. Some people just, when the lights shine the brightest, put their best foot forward. And maybe that's what North Platte's going to be this year, as the 1-0 almost hits Caleb Wallmeyer. It's 2-0 the count. Again, statistically and mathematically, if you're doing the math, if North Platte wins 2 games and Grand Island Home Federal wins 2 games, there's your 2 teams going to state statistically. As ball number 3 upstairs from Easton Jones. And again, there's that little bit of the bad side from Easton. Haven't seen it in a couple innings, but just have a few of those that just won't, for whatever reason, connect with the zone. And a good old Caster Curse as he fires one right down the middle. 3-1 with 2 outs. 3-0 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard for Great Plains Health, post 163. 3-1. Slicing foul towards the parking lot, and after it was looking a little disastrous to start, Easton Jones now brings it back. Full count, 3-2 to Caleb Wallmeyer, who walked in his previous plate appearance. With 2 outs, if Easton Jones can find this last pitch, the inning will be over. Go to the top of the 5th. Gets the sign from McIntyre. The 3-2 pitch. Oh, and it bounces off the back of Wallmeyer, and he'll take a jog on over to first after getting hit by a pitch. Would have been a ball either which way, but that puts a runner aboard for now. Nick Musil. Musil struck out on 3 pitches in his last at-bat. Liam Dyer is on deck. Adam Rutt in the hole. Stark contrast, Easton Jones, 48 total pitches so far.
That's really good efficiency.
To compare it to Reichstein, when he left last inning, he was at 70 pitches. So, again, the complete opposite end of the spectrum in terms of who's having a better pitching day. Now the question is, can Easton Jones continue that through the rest of this ball game, as that's quickly fouled back from Musil for strike 1. And again, you talked about in your, how long and safe keys to the game, the attrition of not only the Heat today. The season's now been long wearing on. How is that going to affect Easton Jones? And so far, he's really putting yours to stump, being like, ain't look like it's going to affect me so far one bit as a pickoff attempt. Landon Greeno will get Wallmeyer back. But again, still early. It's crazy to think that we'll be going to the 7th inning before you know it, but bottom of the 4th, runner at first base for Hastings being Wallmeyer. Uh-oh, that one little looper into center field, gets down for a base hit. That might be extra bases or a move from Wallmeyer to second, but no. And second hit today for 5 Points Bank Hastings, and now there's 2 runners aboard. Second, as we said, second hit today. And Liam Dyer, who flew out to Caden Johnson, comes up to bat. Probably, I think, the second time a runner has gotten to second base all game today for Hastings.
Yeah, these are some big 2-out base runners right now for Hastings. Down in this game 3-0. You know, offense, as we've been talking about, just has not been up to snuff as what we were expecting. But again, you get some base runners on, the game can change with one swing of the bat.
And that's what makes this Hastings team so scary is even when we've been sitting here all day, and uh-oh, that's going to get away from Dean McIntyre, and with that, gets a little bit from bad to worse as now 2 runners are in scoring position, and that's what makes this Hastings team so scary. They can look dead in the water all day today, and then next thing you know, without even flinching, they've already got 2 runners aboard, and that's the game tying run at home plate with Liam Dyer. 1-0 pitch from Easton Jones now into Dyer, again, who flew out. That's tight side of the shoulder, 2-0. And probably Easton Jones' most important inning, you'd say, so far, with, again, 2 runners now in scoring position. If he can get out of this inning, be huge to North Platte's momentum. As another 2-0 on a fastball pulls McIntyre from home plate. A walk here would load the bases. And now we're really going to start to get really tight when it comes to the score if Jones can't find this last out. 3-0. Off speed. It's in there. On the bottom edge of the zone for strike 1, 3-1. If he can induce a ground out, that would be a huge boon for this North Platte defense, and at least breathe a sigh of relief for everybody here in the ballpark at Bill Wood. Jones will get the sign from McIntyre. The 3-1. In there, strike 2. Man, Liam Dyer thought that almost touched his jersey. I think he almost caught a whiff of his jersey, but now it's a 3-2 count. The last batter that saw 3-2 got struck out by Easton Jones. As he'll wind up the pitch. 3-2. And it's pulled outside on his fastball, and out comes head coach Ricky Holm. And now the bases are loaded for 5 Points Bank Hastings. Game-tying run at first base. Adam Rutt, who grounded out to Landon Greeno in his first plate appearance, now will check in. And this is where your blood pressure starts to rise and the risk of a heart attack seems to increase, more particularly for me. But bases loaded situation. First time today that North Platte has had Hastings load the bases on their offensive side, which is, again, a credit to Easton Jones. But as we've talked many of times, there's at least one point in the inning where things have gotten a little dicey, and now we're going to have a new pitcher. It looks like on the mound for, nope, thank heavens. I got scared for a second there. And as Connor Stifler looked like he was going to take over as he was standing on the mound, but Jones will hold on to that baseball.
And you can see he's getting tired out there. He's taking some deep breaths, trying to calm himself down. Just needs one more out here.
And Easton Jones was out during the entirety of the the high school baseball season with a knee injury that he suffered late in the season for basketball. As there's a beautiful fastball to Adam Rutt for strike number 1. So really, this is his first full pitching season this year. It's been a little bit different. Hasn't been able to really get into a good rhythm trying to overcome that knee injury. And as you can see, even with 56 pitches, which we at that point said very efficient, looking a little winded right now, but quickly is at an 0-2 count against Adam Rutt. So already off to a strong start after that little talk with head coach Ricky Holmes. Sometimes that's just all you need to get refocused in, is a little talk from your coach. And with the bases loaded, And an 0-2 count to catcher Adam Rutt. Can Easton Jones slam the door in the face of Hastings with this pitch right here? That's up high for ball number 1. 1-2 the count. Wallmeyer at third, Musel at second, Liam Dyer at first base. So that's a lot of speed on the base pad for Hastings if this gets further than the outfield. As Easton Jones gets set for his 1-2. Popped up, drifting towards Landon Greeno at first. He's running, but it's going to fall foul. And we'll still stay at 1-2 the count.
I always got to love that hustle from the first baseman or third baseman chasing it all the way to the fence. You want him to be safe, obviously.
Of course.
But, I love just not letting it fly out of there.
Especially in this type of game where, as we've talked about so many times, the littlest of things can be a big difference. That little extra effort of leaning over the rail might have been an out, but that ball is nowhere near. But still speaking about just putting in that little extra effort here might go a long way. 1-2 once again to Adam Rutt. Off speed, low in the dirt. Ball 2, pulling McIntyre from his position on the behind home plate. 2-2 with 2 outs. 3-0 the lead for Great Plains Health, post 163. Jones trying to find the inning strikeout. 2-2. Another one that's slicing towards the grandstands and out of play. That's the second foul ball of this at bat. Pins and needles is kind of what we're sitting on right now because this is a huge at bat for Hastings, but also a huge inning pitching-wise for Easton Jones. Just needs to get this one more strike, and then we can all breathe a sigh of relief. 2-2 with the bases loaded for 5 Points Bank Hastings. It's coming on its way. Grounded on over to Jacoby Silos. He steps on the bag, and that's how this inning comes to an end. It may have looked a little sketchy for Easton Jones, but as we talked about, the defense has been helping all the way throughout. And that's how this bases loaded jam comes to an end for 5 Points Hanks. Oh my good heavens. 5 Points Bank Hastings. A lot of P's and B's in there. It is 3-0 on a wicked fast scoreboard when we come back to Billwood Field, FM 98.1. AM 1410 and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, top of the 5th inning. Man, talk about a positive end to that bottom of the 4th. Bases were loaded. Easton Jones was looking a little gassed out there, but the defense. We talked about it, during a certain part of our cast, Jake. They've really helped prop up Easton Jones whenever things have gotten a little bit dicey, and they do it once again right there.
Yeah, and it took a little bit of a mound visit, just a quick chat. Give him a few extra seconds, catch his breath, calm down a little bit, maybe get some input from the head coach on what he could do differently. And it ended up paying off. It was a 2-2 count, but really battled through some of the physical attrition of this game.
And that's sometimes just what you need is just a little bit. Sometimes just what you need is a little bit of just a mound visit, a little bit of a talk to get you settled back in, and that must have done wonders because they got out of that bases loaded jam. As here up to bat now, Landon Greeno versus Aiden Krejci. First ball and the pitch are happening. Breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. Krejci's 1-0. Check swung from Greeno. They're going to say that he didn't go around, so it's ball number 2. And we talked about it, Jacob Reichstein, man, had some heaters, but Krejci so far not really putting too much emphasis on getting that ball to home plate, but we say that, and Landon Greeno takes a big swing and a miss for strike number 1.
And sometimes that progression out of the, off the bench, you go high velocity to maybe a little bit more off speed. It can be difficult for the batters.
As Greeno will turn on one foul on over to first base side, strike number 2.
I mean, that was an example of it right there. A little bit early on that pitch. That's what led it going foul to the right side of first base.
Greeno lock her in and lead off this inning with a hit versus Aiden Krejci. 16 total pitches so far for Krejci. As his pitch swung on and missed, and there's first strikeout of this inning. Down goes Greeno looking, and there you go. There's a really great point. Another pitch where he was way ahead of it, expecting to see it come much quicker to the plate like Reichstein was, and that's again what makes this team scary, but also Coach Blake Marquardt, instead of going with 2 heaters, back-to-back, he decides, okay, let's go to something a little more off-kilter to throw North Platte, which has done a pretty good job in terms of tearing up Reichstein in their limited time seeing him. And so far, it's already paid some dividends in his short viewing as Jones will hit a hard grounder on the third base side. Gloved up, throw to first. Oh, it's not. It's going to go away from the first baseman as Parker Hodgson couldn't hold on to it. Wallmeyer had to bounce almost all the way back to the grass, and a little bit of an off-balance throw will go to first, and now we'll have a courtesy runner as Tommy Haggart will take over for Easton Jones. But again, a little bit of a small, costly mistake for Hastings. That's their first error of today's ball game. And it cost them putting another runner on at first, being Tommy Haggard, who's courtesy running for Easton Jones.
Yeah, I mean, Jones is just doing it all today. I mean, starting pitcher all 4 innings, and then he comes up with a big hit like that.
Now can Dean McIntyre help put a little bit of some run support in behind as well? He struck out looking in his last plate appearance. Actually, correction, reached on a fielder's choice in his last appearance, walked in his first. We'll see an off-speed pitch in the zone for strike number 1. Connor Stifler on deck, Ty Hanneborg in the hole for North Platte. Haggard on over at first, and he gets back in time. Don't think anyone's really warming up for North Platte. Again, I talked with Jake during the break. I think the next pitcher for North Platte's either going to be Caden Johnson or Connor Stifler, as another pickoff attempt gets Haggard back. Head coach Ricky Holm talked to me earlier, said he's going to throw the kitchen sink at today's game, knowing how important it is, because if you win this game, you play 5 Points Bank Hastings, as another pickoff attempt doesn't get Haggard back. Correction, get Grand Island U-Save in the winner's game tomorrow. And then if you win that, you're in the winner goes to the championship match, as the 0-1 is upstairs for ball number 1. So this game really could be, I hate to put so much weight on it, but this really could be the difference of your District 1 run if you can come off with a victory here against 5 Points Bank Hastings. Haggard still at first, 1-1. There goes Tommy Haggard. Throw from Adam Rutt to second. Now we're going to be anywhere near the second base bag, and that's a successfully stolen base for Tommy Haggard, and more importantly for North Platte. So far today, they have yet to be thrown out on any attempts. And knowing how aggressive head coach Ricky Holm is, to see them going perfect is probably the best case scenario, knowing how tight this game has been played so far. As Krejci now with his 2-1 to McIntyre. High velocity fastball that pulled outside, 3-1 the count now. You walk McIntyre, going to get another courtesy runner, and there's another speedster on the bag for Connor Stifler up to bat afterwards. And now you're back in that same position that Reichstein was, where 2 runners aboard, only 1 out in the inning, and some more threats for North Platte to go against. And McIntyre throws his head back after he swings and misses, knowing probably shouldn't have taken a swing. As it's 3-2 now.
Maybe a little too aggressive right there in that hitter's count, but, you can't knock a guy for trying to make a big play.
3-2. Turned on and sliced foul down the first base side. Again, with the amount of power that McIntyre has, as you said, you don't really blame him for going on an off-speed pitch like that, because if he can turn on it, you're staring down something that can go to the gap and might score a run and maybe move him into scoring position, McIntyre as well. Krejci, 3-2 pitch, steps off and will force Haggard to get back on over to second. Haggard's got a pretty aggressive lead from second base. But that's just the North Platte way. As 3-2 to the catcher, Dean McIntyre. As Krejci delivers. In there, strike three, and McIntyre thought that was outside. I can see the look on Coach Holmes' face, and he's wincing on that one too because he thought it was also outside, but McIntyre goes down looking, and good turnout for Hastings on that pitch, and just like that, down to the final out in this top of the fifth inning for North Platte's offense. Runner in scoring position at second base being Tommy Haggard. For Connor Stifler, who's 0 for 2 today, grounded out last time to Royer DeLora at second base. As Krejci's delivery, low, around the knees, ball number 1. Such a super tense game. I mean, we're on the knife's edge either which way in both innings for either team. And that just tells you, again, the ramifications of the weight this game holds for North Platte, and that's now back-to-back pitches from Krejci, who's upstairs, ball 2 now. Hanneborg's on deck. Geisler's in the hole. As part of the order so far has been quiet for North Platte, which has been rather odd, as you know, this part of the order has actually been pretty productive over the last couple of weeks. So to see it today kind of go cold, probably not the best time to start that cold streak today. But if Stifler can walk, that then brings up Hanneborg, who has shown, when the spotlight turns on, he can make a big play. As 3-0 was going to glance the elbow and shoulder there of Connor Stifler, and over to first he goes, and here comes Ty Hanneborg, and he's 0 for 1 right now with a ground out and a walk, but with the speed on the bag, all you need is a little soft grounder into the outfield, and here comes North Platte rounding the bases, and that's, again, to the detriment and the blessing of how North Platte runs the bases. They will be aggressive. They have an opportunity to bring a runner home. They'll bring the runner home, which has cost them in some games. But so far, luck has really been on their side. But that pitch, not on their side. It's in the zone for strike number 1. It's got to be a timer, though. You always hate to say it. It's got to be a timer where that luck's just going to start running out. Few and thin. As Krejci now 28 pitches, 16 strikes, 12 balls, will loft another one upstairs for ball 1. On deck, Easton Geisler with Cade Songster in the hole. So again for North Platte, not the most active hitting part of their order, as that pitch on Krejci into the zone, strike 2. And now Hanneborg is down to the count, 1-2. 2 outs, runners at first and second for Great Plains Health. Krejci gets the sign from Adam Rutt with his 1-2 delivery. Turned on, it's lofted high into the sky, but will drift towards the grandstands. We'll still stay at 1-2. Still don't really see any action in North Platte's bullpen. Does that kind of concern you a little bit, that maybe they're not putting somebody at least softly warming up with, as you said, Easton Jones looking a little gassed to end that last inning?
Yeah, and I mean, ever since he had that base hit and he's come back into the dugout, might become a factor with him resting a little bit.
As that 1-2 pulled outside to Hanneborg for ball 2.
But I think you're right. I mean, I'm assuming Coach at least has somebody in mind where things start to get a little hairy early on in the bottom of this 5th inning. He'll go somewhere.
2-2 check swing, but doesn't matter, as Hanneborg will strike out looking and shakes his head, not agreeing with that call. 2 calls this inning that North Platte batters don't agree on, but that's how this inning will come to an end. We go now to the bottom of the 5th. Can this little bit of rest that Easton Jones has gotten on this end be beneficial to get out of this inning quickly? We'll find out. We come back here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. If you're looking for a new car, I know Jake's car is currently in the, I know, sorry to bring it up, in the maintenance department right now. I have the perfect place for you, Jake. Premier Toyota, just south of I-80 in North Platte. They invite you to stop out and take a test drive all their new and pre-owned vehicles today. Premier Toyota, let's go places. Easton Jones, first pitch into Jaron Johnson, just outside for ball number 1, and almost nails Johnson for ball 2. We talked about towards that end of that inning, this will be a very big test for Easton Jones, because if he can get through this inning, then maybe we can start thinking about clear sailing, I wouldn't say the rest of the way, but at least taking a deep breath, as that one hit it on over to Ty Handelborg at short. Good throw on over to first, and there's out number 1. So big sigh of relief right there for me, particularly because I think in terms of how the rest of this game is going to play out, I think this inning is probably the most important one, because last couple of weeks, for some odd reason, the 5th inning has really been the crux for North Platte in their defense.
And with the pitch count already rising last inning, you get those quick outs early and don't have to waste too much arm.
Royer DeLaura struck out swinging in his previous plate appearance against Easton Jones. Following DeLaura, Isaiah Shaw and then Parker Hodgen, who are the top of the order but haven't really been productive in today's game, been pretty quiet for their top half of the order, which again, in terms of baseball statistics and lineups, it's quite shocking, since that's normally when you put your best hitters to lead off on your lineup, as the 1-0 who almost hits DeLaura, and there's ball number 2. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for North Platte's defense. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error on our wicked fast scoreboard. As you said, that pitch count starting to rise now. 69 pitches, 39 strikes, 30 balls for Easton Jones, and the part that's been rising the most, those balls have been skyrocketing, especially last inning, as DeLaura will rip one foul down the first base side, and it's 2-2 the count now. I honestly think this is a big at-bat here. If they can get DeLaura out, you're putting 2 down to your top of the order that haven't been super clean today, and that probably takes a load off of Easton Jones, because he can give up maybe, I hate to say give up a hit or 2, but at least have a little more wiggle room than if he puts DeLaura on at first. Jones is 2-2. Just barely getting some contact with it is Royer DeLaura, and we'll stay at 2-2 following the foul ball. North Platte just hanging on to this lead, 3-0. After what has been a pretty explosive day of offense from the 2 games prior, a 3-0 affair as that fastball is pulled outside. Now it's a full count, 3-2. Big pitch here, but good on DeLaura not to swing. Taking that last little cut outside of the zone. Payoff 3-2. And it's high ball 3, and there goes that little bit of a perfect fantasy for North Platte as they put DeLaura on at first, and Isaiah Shaw now checks in. He struck out looking in his last plate appearance, flew out to Caden Johnson in his first, has DeLaura at first base for 5 Points Bank Hastings. And honestly now, if you're head coach Ricky Holm, probably starting to throw somebody into the bullpen at least, or as you said, has somebody in mind to potentially start thinking about taking over, as that first pitch way into the dirt to Isaiah Shaw. But I wouldn't be shocked if that person is actually somebody playing a field position, whether it be Stifler, Silos, or Johnson, who will be taking over for Easton Jones. So maybe they aren't even warming up entirely, as DeLaura still at first. A 1-0 pitch to Isaiah Shaw on that fastball. Just like the first one, low and almost in the dirt. 2-0 the count now, as head coach Ricky Holm pacing around, talking with his coaches, Coach Coleman and others, probably starting to think about maybe getting somebody new in. As to 2-0 pitch. It's ball number 3. 3-0, and now Isaiah Shaw staring down the barrel of a walk in this at-bat. 3-0. Oh, man, that one just barely out of the zone, as Jones takes a glance on over to Coach Holman. There you go, just like that. It's turned on its head. 2 runners aboard. Shaw at first, DeLaura at second. And now we're really, again, a little bit of a, you talk about a bad habit or one of the, you can't say deficiencies, but one of the things Coach Holm has done frequently over the years has been keeping pitchers in just a tad too long, as Parker Hodgen will foul that ball back for strike number 1. Jackson Shagru on deck with Caleb Wallmeyer in the hole. Hodgen 0 for 2. Rounded out to Ty Hanneborg in his first appearance, struck out in his second. As with an 0-1 count, Jones will wind it up. Low for ball 1. Nobody warming up for North Platte. I wouldn't be shocked if Jones does walk. We're probably going to see a mound visit at the minimum. Quick glance at first from Easton Jones. The 1-1. Another one that just pretty much almost at the last second pulls sharply out of the zone. 2-1, 80 total pitches for Easton Jones today. As Coach Holm probably hoping that Jones can get out of this inning and then we can see a new pitcher on the mound. That one's squared far back behind our press box, and now it's 2-2 the count. How big do you think this pitch is going to be right here?
I mean, it's hard to overstate how important this one is. You got 2 runners on and the tying run at the plate. I mean, mistakes up there on the mound or even defensively, this game will change like that.
2-2 with 1 out. Easton Jones, 81 pitches. This will be a big strikeout here if he can find it. 2-2. Oh, baby, is that one. Just like 2 pitches ago, teetering on the line. And honestly, I think, as you said, there's that big pitch right there that probably would have been a game-ending changing pitch right there if he hit it, because now the likelihood of Easton Jones walking has gone up quite a bit here for Hodgen. His time is going to be called. So far in the last couple of batters that Easton Jones has put a 3-2 count on, he's walked every single one of them. So he's 0 for 3 in this mark after starting pretty strong off. And again, for the sake of momentum and consistency, if he can get the out here, it'd be game-changing. 3-2, it's in there, strike 3! And when you needed a strike right down the middle, that's the one you called for, and he gets the second out. And if you're head coach Holman, probably even yourself right there, you're probably sighing a big sigh of relief.
Yeah, and you see Jones looking down toward the dish, just giving a big head nod.
As out comes comes Dean McIntyre to go have a conversation with Easton Jones, and umpire going out there too. As they're going to have that conversation with the home plate umpire as well. Something you rarely see right off the gate. Normally, again, if the conversation goes long, he'll go out there, but now you have home plate umpire walking out there immediately, which makes me feel like some sort of shenanigans are going to be afoot. Maybe something to the degree of a pickoff potentially at second for Royer DeLaura, just like what Hastings did to North Platte earlier in the game. But here's Jackson Shagru, another guy that's 0-2 today. Flew out in his first plate appearance to Connor Stifler at second, and then grounded out to Ty Hanneborg in his last plate appearance versus Jones. Oh, and there you go. Popped it right up to shallow. Jacoby Silos gets there, and that's how this inning comes to an end. Man, it was intense, but this was probably the inning Easton Jones needed, and that is Hastings once again not being able to convert on an opportunity. We go to the top of the 6th. 3-0 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard when we come back. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and of course live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Easton Geisler up to bat in this top of the 6th inning, still on the mound. Aiden Krejci will still be pitching. He's been looking solid, I think is the word I'll use, solid ever since he took over for Jacob for the previous Hastings pitcher. As first pitch to Geisler in there, strike one. Next one outside, ball one. Half inning breaks brought to you apart by Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. 1-1 at the knees. Oh, but in. Strike two. Really take me through, Jake, the importance of last inning and getting out of that inning, because for me it was a big sigh of relief, and probably for you as well.
Well, visually we thought that Easton Jones was kind of reaching the limit of his capabilities up there on the mound.
As next pitch outside for ball two.
And then he finds that last out, just a quick early at-bat swing, just a routine pop-up over to shallow third base. And right there, it seemed like everyone around here at the field took a big sigh of relief.
Another pitcher looking to warm up for Hastings as that one's popped up towards the dugout for 5 points banked Hastings. And there's another 1-2 pitch. There is a pitcher looking to warm up for 5 points bank Hastings, as it looks like Zane Thompson walking out there, as well as Nick Kavensky for Hastings. 2-2 the count now to Geisler with nobody out in the top of the 6th inning. Fastball foul to the net. Second straight foul ball. Stay at 2-2. But I agree. 5th innings the last couple of weeks have really been the crutch for North Platte, and it kind of feels like even the dugout knew how important that inning was. So the fact that you got out of it unscathed, potentially into a new pitcher coming next at half inning for North Platte's defense, I think is a huge weight off of the team's shoulders. As the next pitch to Easton Geisler, outside ball 3. Geisler 0 for 1, struck out swinging in his first appearance, walked in his second, and now Adam Rutt will go talk to his pitcher, Aiden Krejci. But I think for me, the worrying thing is Coach Holm feeling good after last inning will throw Easton back out there for one more kind of go about. Because we've seen it a couple times where, you know, he'll have somebody warming up, but he'll give his pitcher one more half inning, and then if it starts to fall apart, then throw a new pitcher in there. And I don't know if I agree with that, because if 2 runners do get aboard like last time, then you're really asking a lot for your relief pitcher. As in the dugout, North Platte, one of the players has a Hulk mask on to try and put some tactics to distract Krejci. Is the 3-2. Soft grounder on over to head coach Ricky Holm, and that is the now 3rd foul ball of this at-bat. And time's going to be called as Blake Marquardt now going to go out and have a conversation with the home plate umpire about something. Oh, now we're going to have a conversation with Coach Holm.
And Paxton, he's telling him, you can't wear a Hulk mask right there in the dugout.
Oh, pitch count.
4-5.
Okay, and this is I think a big deal for, and that's going to do it for Krejci. So, and this is something that isn't really, you don't see very often, but in a district situation, if you get to a certain, of course, pitch count in American Legion, there's a certain amount of days you have to be off. If you get past 20, then you're at 1 day's rest, and if you get past, I believe, 50, you're at 2 days rest. So Krejci at the 45 mark is pulled, and whoever the next pitcher is this is going to be interesting, because I don't think he got many warm-up pitches down there. As we wait for now we'll get the number. Ashton Hawes will be taken over, but this is with, of course, a 3-2 count. But Hawes didn't really get, again, many warm-up pitches when he walked it. He just walked out this inning, and this inning just started. And now for Blake Marquardt going, it looks like, to a heater off the bench against Easton Geisler, who's in a 3-2 count so far. And so far, again, with these pitches looking like he's still warming up, is Ashton Hawes. Following Geister, Kate Songster, and back to North Platte's top of the order with Caden Johnson. Jackson Peters after that, and Landon Greeno after that. And again, we can't really take, super seriously these warm-up pitches, but kind of feeling a little uneasy if I was Blake Marquardt, because all 4 of the pitches so far that Haas has taken have really been nowhere near the strike zone. That one might have been relatively close, but that's going to be a risky proposition here because, again, he's thinking the long game, but the problem with thinking the long game is, what if you don't even get to that, long game?
True.
And that's what makes, these decisions so hit or miss, is because, again, they're the number 1 seed, so, he has a full go to think this way, but there's been some weirder things that have gone on in the baseball world, so you got to think about the team that's currently in front of you, and if you think too far ahead of it, you could be threatening to put yourself in the lower bracket. And right now, yes, you'll be facing Scottsbluff tomorrow, who got blown out by 10 runs today, but at some point you're going to face Kearney. You're going to face potentially a Grand Island. As 3-2 now to Easton Geisler as Ashton Hawes takes over for 5 Points Bank. 3-2 count. Haas' delivery to Geisler. Outside, ball 4, and already off to a rough start. Walking the first batter he sees.
Yeah, coming in on a 3-2 count. Not the most normal thing, I guess you could say, out of the bullpen.
That's probably one of the worst situations as a relief pitcher to be in. You didn't get a warm-up. You're probably at 10 pitches max, and now you're coming into the 3-2 count to lead off an inning. And you're sitting there going thanks, I'll do it, Coach, but thanks. You really put me in a tough spot as Tyler Townsend, courtesy running for, Easton Geisler. But 3 straight righties being propped up by Marquardt and Hastings. As here's Kate Songster, 2 strikeout swingings in his game so far today. And if you ever needed a situation to get somebody lower in the order on the base paths with nobody out, now might be the time with Caden Johnson, leadoff batter, next up for North Platte. As Townsend, healthy lead at first base. Next pitch from Haas. Outside again, it's ball 1. Now the problem is, though, knowing Hastings and how things have gone, they've always come back in these games no matter what they throw. So he has, again, as I talked earlier, all the right to make these types of calls. Just a very interesting one if you're looking for the long game. But there's a fastball from Ashton Hawes for strike number 1. And now, as I said, 3rd pitcher of this game for Hastings. And now, I'd say 3rd different, but we now go back to a speedster. So as you highlighted earlier when Krejci came in, you're getting a different look and going back now to a speedster to try and throw North Platte off. And so far it's been successful ever since Reichstein went out. North Platte's only accrued 1 hit so far.
And the tough thing is if he's going to locate the strike zone with that same, success rate.
As beautiful bunt laid down by Cade Songster as Wallmeyer will gun it to first. They'll get the easy out at first, but, for North Platte, who is yet to hit a bunt today, to move the runner into scoring position at second and get the 1 out for Caden Johnson, who so far today is looking to put his stamp on. He's 2 for 3 today, Caden Johnson is. So now you have an opportunity to move the runner on over to 3rd or maybe even home if you get one into the outfield. This is kind of a big deal to get that runner over to 2nd on the bunt with now 1 out on the board for Ashton Hawes on the mound. In relief for Aiden Krejci as Hawes will step off and force Townsend back. And probably not the order that Hawes wants to see. Johnson, Peters, Greeno to lead off with 1 out. And a runner in scoring position at second base. As Hawes will look to deliver his first pitch to Johnson. That one's going out to the gap in right field, but it's going to be tipped up and grabbed by Isaiah Shaw. And staying at second is Tyler Townsend, and there's 2 down. So, right idea, but unfortunately the ball just didn't get the nice drift that he was hoping for and go more to the gap. And with that, 2 down in this inning for Jackson Peters, who, unlike Caden Johnson, hasn't had the flashiest day today. So far for Peters. He's 0 for 1. He got out on a drop third strike in his last plate appearance, then walked in his first two. Has Tyler Townsend at second base, threatening to score and push the lead even further. 3-0 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard is that pitch clipping in for strike number 1. 0-1 now. My keys, I talked about your keys getting squashed quickly on. My keys also have gotten squashed so far. North Platte pretty quiet from an actual hitting standpoint today, as a fastball in the upper now end of the zone will find the strike zone. Only accrued 3 hits today, 2 of those coming in the first inning, well, the first 2 innings, and after that, 1 hit, of course, come on that run in the top of the third. Is now Coach Holm going to go have a conversation with the home plate umpire and I think get a number change. But, yeah, North Platte, it was funny with how crazy this game has gone in terms of the pitching. We've been talking about its importance. Still a bit of pitcher's duel. Outside of that, both teams low on the hit count, 5 total, 3 for North Platte, 2 for Hastings, and that's how we've stuck at this 3-0 lead so far for Great Plains Health. Post 163 on our wicked fast scoreboard. 0-2 to Jackson Peters as Ashton Hawes delivers. Oh, it bounces away from catcher Adam Rutt, and that's an easy advance for Tyler Townsend, who thought about coming on home, with how far that sucker bounced off of the home plate, as Hawes will get a new ball from home plate umpire. But that was one little small mistake. Another one like that brings the runner home.
Yeah, and in a 3-0 game this deep into this game, I mean, even one more run would feel massive.
The 1-2 from Ashton Hawes. Oh, it's right in there. Strike 3 as down goes Jackson Peters, staring down the barrel of that fastball. And that's how this inning comes to an end. North Platte did have a runner in scoring position. We're now going to make our way to the bottom of the 6th inning. I'm going to wait a couple seconds because I want to see if Easton Jones, oh, there he is. He's walking out of the dugout, and it looks like he's making his way to the mound. We'll see another inning of Easton Jones when we come back here. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here. Yeah, I know. I love you, but I got to be back on the air. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. The lights are coming on because we are into really the craziest and the most heart in your stomach, in your throat type of game right now. 3-0 the lead on our wicked fast scoreboard for Great Plains Health, Post 163. Everybody in the press box was talking about how we might potentially be seeing a new pitcher this inning, and Easton Jones trots back out there and off one pitch, already putting us a little bit to doubt with a high-velocity fastball in the zone for strike number 1 versus Caleb Wallmeyer, who's yet to record a stat, walked in his first plate appearance, was hit by a pitch in his second as we're re-upping the sign. But what do you feel about this decision, Jake? You know, we had some conversations at the end of the 5th saying, like, hey, they're going to throw a new pitcher in, you know, just seeing how tired Jones was after that 5th.
Well, I mean, as you guys were saying, I mean, if you see in this first at-bat and he's able to handle himself and maybe get a quick out, you're feeling more confident about the decision, but it does seem like the first sign of distress might be at the end of his day.
Well, I'm Wow, we might not have, again, agreeing with the decision and maybe a little worried. He's already putting the doubters to shame right now. It's a 1-2 count to Caleb Wallmeyer, and his pitches still look like they have good top-end velocity as the 1-2. Swing and a miss. You know, maybe Easton still has a little bit of that juice left in the system, and, that is why he is, North Platte's best pitcher, even though maybe statistically this year it hasn't been to what many people would expect of a top pitcher. But in games like this where you need a man to step up and really hold the fort down, Easton Jones is showing that once again he is that guy. One out here in this bottom of the 6th inning with Nick Musel as that one goes over the heavens into Narnia and for ball number 1. As Nick Musel just watched that one sail into the ether. 1-0 the count, and this is what scares me as well, because again, he would look great last at bat. But what about now? As Easton Jones, 90 pitches in total. Again, if you get to 100, that's a 3 days rest, and he's done for the rest of the tournament essentially. I think it's actually 4 days, correction, as fastball outside for ball 2. It looked like good trajectory at first to Nick Musel, who's 1 for 2 today. Struck, okay, okay, so struck out swinging his last plate appearance, singled in his last as the 2-0. Good bounce back pitch, strike number 1. So far in these two batters, how are you feeling confidence-wise with Easton Jones?
Well, it starts to get a bit more shaky if he falls behind 3-1 here.
As that 2-1 pitch, there you go, tied in 3-1 now as it almost hit the knee of Nick Musel.
Because again, the run support on the side of North Platte hasn't been very strong, especially in the back half of this game. They haven't scored since the 3rd inning.
As 3-1. Oh, 3-2. Well, now it gets interesting again. Easton Jones in these 3-2 counts in the last couple of batters, it's not gone his way. But honestly, I think this might be a game-changing pitch. If I said that last inning, but this could be really a game-altering pitch if he can land the strike here on the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Musel swinging. And there's 2 down in this inning. Huge for Easton Jones. And that is exactly what he needed, because with 2 down and now up to bat being Liam Dyer, who walked in his last appearance but flew out. Now you can feel a little better even if he walks here, but you at least now have that 2-out support to get through this inning, as that's a beautiful fastball. Oh, man, that just doesn't go the way for Easton. It's 1-0 now. Following Dyer, Adam Rutten, Jaron Johnson. So the quiet part of this Hastings order is quickly it's 2-0 the count to Dyer.
He's shaking that arm out quite a bit at this point. I mean, he is battling right now.
90, I think we're at 97 pitches right now. The 2-0 in there, strike number 1. Even though he's shaking that arm out, I still really haven't felt like he's completely lost control of his command of his pitches. Again, he is really pushing through the exhaustion, as that one just a bit up high. And now, I still think maybe if he walks, maybe we'll see the pitching change. If he walks Liam Dyer here, worst case scenario, as Jones with his 3-1 pitch delivers. And there's ball 4, and as there's the walk of Dyer on over to first base, and Jones will still stay out there. So, oh boy, 3-0 lead. Man, we've been on pins and needles, small game today. But that's what's just the love of baseball so far. Paxton Gordon, Jake Schwantz here. Up to bat now, Adam Rutt. And maybe this is the guy that can end this inning here. He's 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts against Easton Jones. Runner at first being Liam Dyer, as first pitch is down low for ball 1. Following Rutt, Jaron Johnson, and Royer DeLaura. That's 7, 8, and 9 that are in the order, as the 1-0 smashed out to left field but pulled foul for strike number 1. As 1-1 the count, 2 down. These last 2 innings are pretty huge innings here, because if you can get Rutt out now, you get Johnson and DeLaura to the bottom of the 7th, who have not been the most productive hitters today for 5 Point Banks Hastings. Dyer is still at first base, the 1-1. Down low, ball 2. 2-1 the count. So again, the max pitch is 105 for Jones, but he will go, you are allowed to go through this batter even if you do eclipse 105. 2-1, 2 outs. Jones with a big breath out will get set. As here comes his 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. There's one thing again, even if he's been extremely gassed, man, that velocity is still holding strong. He just needs one more perfect pitch to get out of this inning and have his day come to an end on the mound, and it'd be almost perfect. 2-2, 2 outs, runner at second base to Adam Rutt. The pitch, swing and a miss, and down goes Rutt, and Easton Jones knows it. Huge out for North Platte as they end the inning, and that is how Easton Jones' days comes to an end. And it looks like the next pitcher is going to be Jacoby Silos. It looks like he'll be taking over potentially on the mound for North Platte. Huge, Jake. I mean, you're talking about a huge ending get out of, and that is it right there.
That's 3 swing and misses on the final pitch of an at-bat. Just unreal fight being shown on the mound tonight from Easton Jones.
And this is the time that you want to see that fight. We now go to the top of the 7th, last inning of play. Can they close it out? You'll have to find out when we come back here. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Top of the 7th inning here, FM 98.1, AM 1410. North Platte just got out of probably the hugest inning that's probably been for them all season. Easton Jones hitting the brink of his pitch count, really looking gassed out there. Finds the final out on 3 big swings and misses from the side of Hastings. And now we head to the top of the 7th inning. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for Great Plains Health. Post 163, no runs, 2 hits, 1 error for 5 Points Bank Hastings on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. As it looks like Jacoby Silos, as I thought earlier, looks to be the closing pitcher in today's game for Great Plains Health. But an opportunity still is here for North Platte to continue to add some run support. It's for both teams today, it's really been a struggle adding that run support. As we said, only 3 runs in grand total across 5 hits combined from both teams. But if there was a time to really, again, show that last-second spark like Easton did, it's right here. And old reliable, Landon Greeno comes up to bat against Ashton Hawes, who took over last inning for Krejci, and his first pitch is way behind Adam Rutt for ball number 1. As 1-0 to Greeno, who so far today was hit by a pitch in his first appearance, singled in his second, then struck out swinging in his third. Again, facing now his 3rd different pitcher today. We'll see a pitch down low for ball number 2. You know, we talk about insurance runs and how really limited offense has been today. Is it almost like back-breaking for Hastings if North Platte even just gets 1 run across? As the 2-0, swing and a miss.
Yeah, you got to think it would because, I mean, as we've seen all afternoon and now evening long, there has not really been much consistency at all throughout the batting order. I mean, you've got a couple of times where a guy can draw a walk, but outside of that, not much.
As 2-1, beautiful off-speed in down the center for strike 2. You know, this is a hockey reference. I don't know how much you watch hockey, but 4 goals is really the end-all, be-all. So if you can get to that 4-goal mark, you know, essentially a lot of people put the tie in. Kind of same thing might apply here to North Platte. They can get that 4th run across. It might be the game ender as that's fouled off the bat of Landon Greeno. As you said, just in a game where we've been asking questions all day, when's the run support coming or who's going to really be that guy to help with the run support? If they can, North Platte, just get even 1 run across. Doesn't have to be 2 or 3, just get that 1 run. I think that'll actually play huge dividends because you actually, again, still have that comfortable margin. 3 is comfortable, but you're more on the edge of your seat just like, well, if 2 runners get aboard, oh boy, watch out here. As 2-2 the count now to Landon Greeno. Ashton Hawes, 13 pitches, 8 strikes, 5 balls for 5 points, Bank Hastings. And winner of this game faces Grand Island U-Save tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Loser faces Scotts Bluff at 4 o'clock as that next pitch off speed plays, or off speed misses zone. Hastings will play at 1 either which way they win or lose. 3-2 pitches. Hawes will deliver one to Landon Greeno. Check swing, but doesn't matter. Upstairs. Ball 4 and start the inning off with a walk. And now you're in the moment here for Hastings. If Hawes can't produce, you're stuck with him basically for the rest of this inning. It's probably a little too late to draw a new pitcher in there, you'd have to think.
Yeah, there's no way anyone else could come in.
Only if things get like really out of control and North Platte starts to rack the runs in. Here is the man who has really put an excellent performance in, Easton Jones, today. He's up to bat. He's 1 for 2. Reached on a fielder's choice in his first at-bat. Walked in his second, then singled in his third. Has Landon Greeno at first base and a 1-0 count that he's staring down. 1-0. Oh, as he lets go of his bat on a swing, and he smiles as it goes all the way over to where Coach Holm is at for strike number 1. But that just tells you how much he's been sweating from all the hard work he's put in today. Even with gloves on, it slipped through his hands.
You can see it almost instantly on his face. Just the look of shock as he just
Even I was shocked. I was like, whoa, that's going quite a ways. 1-1 now to Jones, as Hawes now will take a quick glance at first and strike it up. That's in the dirt, but doesn't bounce far enough away from Rutt to advance. Landon Greeno. So far, my confidence in Ashton Rutt and these quick pitches is slowly starting to waver, as after a pretty good relief effort when he came in last inning, struggling like almost every other Hastings pitcher today to find consistency into the strike zone, as quick pickoff attempt will get Landon Greeno back. Outside of Easton Jones, Hastings pitchers, which have been super consistent, really struggling today. And they've gone through 3 of them already. Well, this will be the third one here, as Hawes' fastball upstairs, and there's ball 3 to Easton Jones. And walking Easton Jones with nobody out, again, puts Hastings in a weird scenario in this top of the 7th inning. As Hawes, again, quick look at first to Greeno with his 3-1. It's upstairs, ball 4, and that is a walk. So Greeno gets to first, or excuse me, gets to second, and now Jones to first. And now we're going to have Tommy Haggart, who is going to be pinch running for Landon Greeno. Now, Easton Jones, again, not the quickest in terms of straight burst, but when you get him running, those legs probably much faster than Landon Greeno's. And here's a guy that probably could be the game could be the game changer here, but could play a huge part in what could be a big inning for North Platte. Dean McIntyre, he's 0 for 2 today, but if you want to talk about a guy that could really turn a game up on its head with his power, here it is right here. Again, 0 for 2, walked in his first plate appearance, reached on a fielder's choice in his second, then struck out looking in his third. As Hawes' first pitch to McIntyre, around the knees and in for strike number 1. Connor Stifler on deck, Ty Hanneborg in the hole now for Hastings. If you're a Hastings fan, this is the best part of the lineup. North Platte in this middle, 5, 6, 7, they've been pretty unproductive today. But still nobody out, so you have a couple outs to kind of play with, as Parker Hodgen on the grass as McIntyre looks to lay a bunt down. It stays fair. They're going to glance and throw on over to third, and a beautiful, for back-to-back innings, another beautifully laid down bunt, and McIntyre will bunt out, but it does move the runners up one base pad. And that's, I think, pretty huge for North Platte, because you get the runners moved on over to second and third, and now you're in a situation where, again, a pop fly out to the outfield scores 1 run at the very least. As here comes Blake Marquardt out. He's going to call time and go have a pitch or conversation with Ashton Hawes. Can't pull him. He's at 22 pitches, so he'll get that day's rest. But now the question becomes Ty Hanneborg, Connor Stifler, who's 0 for 2. Tommy Haggart is a speedy guy. With 1 out, does North Platte suicide squeeze here? I know. So far, statistically, they'll give you it. In the last probably 4 games, they're 1-9 on their suicide squeeze attempts.
Yeah, it's tough because, I mean, you got to make sure you lay it down properly and on the proper side of the field. If you lay it down that third base side, it's a little bit risky.
Yeah.
But
would you do it, though?
I think now, if you're going to do it, you have to do it now with only 1 out. But at this point, I mean, why not try to give a guy a chance? I mean, if you shoot this one through the gap between first and second, all of a sudden you're looking at a 5-0 lead, and you could almost put the nail in it.
Now, if I told you today Connor Stifler was 0 for 2, and your head coach, Ricky Holm, do you then take, again, now does that add a little bit of a change to how you're going to approach this at-bat? Because Ashton Hawes is still out there. They're going to keep him on the mound.
It does change it a little bit, but also with the struggles that he's had on the mound, maybe you force him to show you that he actually can put some strikes in there consistently. I mean, today he's kind of been all over the place.
Yeah, and that's pretty much been the motto for North Platte so far today. They've only had 3 hits, and a lot of those reasons why they have a 3-0 lead is not because they've been hitting extremely well. It's that Hastings is making a whole bunch of mistakes as their infield is totally playing for that bunt. They're all on the grass as there goes that squeeze. Beautifully put down by Connor Stifler. It stays fair, and Connor Stifler gets on over to first. Wow, unbelievable bunt from Connor Stifler and a little bit of that Bill Woodfield magic. Oh my gosh. And that bunt was absolutely laid down beautifully. A run comes across. It's now 4-0 in favor of Great Plains Health post 163.
Unreal bounce.
That ball did everything in its power not to go out. That is absolutely crazy. And you got to feel for poor Parker Hodgen because he was staring that ball down, watched it get almost touching that first base line, and it just never fully committed. And because of that, Tommy Haggart scores, and it's now 4-0 the lead for Great Plains Health with Ty Hanneborg up to bat. He's also 0 for 2, and we have runners at first and third with, again, infield playing potentially for a bunt. As Hanneborg stops, and they'll let Connor Stifler successfully steal second. Smart play as North Platte was trying the double steal. But first pitch in there from Ashton Hawes for strike number 1 to Hanneborg as he was looking to lay the bunt down. But Stifler now moves on over to second with the stolen base. And now there goes that theory in your head. If Hanneborg is going to go swinging, anything that goes in the outfield, that's 2 runs that'll come across. As Hawes with his 0-1 will glance at third and deliver. It gets away from the catcher. And with that, Easton Jones will score. Another run comes across for North Platte. It's all falling apart for Hastings here in this top of the 7th inning. 2 runs have come across. And it feels like that luck is still, Lady Luck's still on North Platte's side, but now poor Connor Stifler got caught sleeping. Oh, but I don't think. No! Oh, my gosh, as Connor Stifler got caught napping, but Adam Rutt was not paying attention at home until the last second as Coach Holm was talking with Stifler, and that actually almost turned into a successful play for North Platte, but 2 down here in this inning. A 1-1 count to Ty Hanneborg with the bases cleared now. As first pitch will be in there, or next pitch will be in there for strike 2. As now 5-0 lead for Great Plains Health post 163 in this top of the 7th inning on our wicked fast scoreboard as that one's into left field for a base hit. And with 2 outs, Ty Hanneborg gets support, and I think that's the first hit since the 3rd inning for North Platte. Quite a long time. But, man, what a 7th inning this has been. You've been talking about those insurance runs. I think we've got it in more droves than we probably could have imagined, Jake.
Yeah, you got the successful bunt. You've got that pretty well-hit ball, honestly, on that bouncer into left field right there. It's all going North Platte's way.
And there's a pickoff attempt to get Ty Hanneborg back. Easton Geisler up to bat, following in that hit from Ty Hanneborg, their first since the third inning, which has been quite a long time. But Geisler walked in his last 2 plate appearances, struck out in his first, has the speedy Hanneborg at first as he'll swing and foul one to the net for strike number 1. And honestly, again, if this is how the inning ends, you couldn't have asked for a better top of the 7th for North Platte. 2 runs coming across. They've been looking much, much more tuned in throughout the full process of today's game, as the next pitch from Ashton Hall is there for strike 2 to Easton Geisler. And now the worrying part is the 7th inning. It's like the Grim Reaper. Bah, 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 bah. As we got to get through this inning first before we can get to said Grim Reaper. The 0-2 foul just barely tipped off by Geisler. Because, again, I hate to be that guy, but if you want to talk about a team that has become well-versed in comebacks in the 7th inning, it is 5 Points Bank Hastings. The good news is North Platte doesn't have 8 runs, and that's kind of the only time that I've seen this happen is when they have 8 runs. But Hanneborg at first, 0-2 the count to designated hitter Easton Geisler. As that fastball upstairs, Rutt's throw on to second is not going to be in time, as Hanneborg will successfully move to second on a stolen base. And now, with a 1-2 count, a little looper into the outfield will get Ty Hanneborg potentially home and just keep adding on to the runs for North Platte. 1-2 to Geisler as Ashton Hawes delivers. Off speed, down around the ankles. Ball 2. 2-2 with 2 outs. Wicked fast, scoreboard, 5-0 lead for North Platte. If you download the My Phillips 66 app yet. If not, you're missing out. So much savings with Wicked Fast. 2-2. Another one that's below the knees, ball 3. And now Geisler staring down the barrel of a walk here. After being down to the count 0-2 early on. Hawes gets the sign from Adam Rutt. Winds up as 3-2. That's a hit. Going to go on over to the shortstop, Jackson Shagru. Throw to first, and that's how this inning comes to an end. But North Platte did the damage it needed to do. 2 runs come across on 2 hits. It's now the bottom of the 5th inning. We'll have a new pitcher on the mound. One, Jacoby Silos. Can he close it out and move North Platte to the winner's bracket game tomorrow against one, Grand Island U Save? We'll have to find out when we come back here to Bill Wood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Bill Wood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. This is where the money is going to be made, everybody, here tonight. Great Plains Health post 163, leading 5-0 over 5 Points Bank Hastings in the bottom of the 7th. 5 runs, 5 hits, no errors for North Platte. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for 5 Points Bank Hastings. Timeouts brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. Jacoby Silos on the mound, taking over for Easton Jones, and probably what will be in his young career so far the most stressful appearance he'll be showing up in. He's got Jaron Johnson on deck, who grounded out in his last plate appearance. Royer DeLaura, who singled in his last, and then you go back to the top of the order with Isaiah Shaw. Now, this is where this gets really important. North Platte did get 2 runs across last inning. Man, I'm telling you, that's huge. In my opinion, that's might be game-altering because now you can, I hate to say breathe a sigh of relief, but you can at least, if you give up a few runs, not have to worry about that coming to haunt you in the later terms of things. As first pitch from Silos is upstairs above the letters for ball 1 to Jaron Johnson. As that one's lofted out to left field. I mean, it's absolutely smashed out to left field. It's not going to get to Peters. He'll run into the wall. That's extra bases here for Jaron Johnson to lead off this bottom of the 7th inning. A double for Johnson off of Jacoby Silos. And now there's a runner in scoring position for Royer DeLaura. 2 pitches in, and Silos already has one pounded off of him all the way to the wall. As here comes DeLaura. Walked in his last appearance, struck out swinging in his first, has a runner in scoring position, Jaron Johnson at second base. As first pitch, good bounce back from Jacoby Silos. How worried are you now after that big double to lead off this inning, especially for a very, very young pitcher in Jacoby Silos?
Well, right away you see the importance of those 2 insurance runs. I mean, if a guy got on, the tying run would have been coming to the plate.
That's
right
right
up next.
As the 0-1, that one lifted out to right field now, but getting there to grab it. Cade Songster for out number 1 as the runner will now advance on over to third, but there is a big out as Cade Songster in right field, glove is out number 1. So Jaron Johnson now gets to third, but at least you would be okay if 1 run comes across now, getting that crucial first out. 5-0 on our wicked fast scoreboard here, bottom of the 7th inning. Runner at third base being Jaron Johnson for Isaiah Shaw, who is 0 for 2 today. Walked in his last plate appearance as Silos' first pitch to Shaw is in the dirt for ball number 1. Parker Hodgen on deck with Jackson Shagru, 2 batters that have yet to record a hit today for 5 Points Bank Hastings after Shaw. So a little bit of some comfort for Silos in that regard as the 1-0. Quickly 2-0 to Isaiah Shaw. Huge moment. Again, winner of this game faces Grand Island U-Save tomorrow at 7 o'clock. While the loser will play Scotts Bluff. As that one's fouled off by Shaw for strike number 1. And to be honest with you, either which way you go, pretty good opponents for North Platte. They've topped both those teams twice this season. But 2-1 the count with 1 out. Johnson in scoring position at third. Jacoby Silos, the young man, delivers. Grounder on over to Easton Jones. Oh no, it goes through his glove, and a run will come home for 5 Points Bank Hastings off of an Easton Jones error. As it just squirts right through his glove. And there's the first run today for Hastings off of the first North Platte error on what would have been an easy ground out for Easton Jones to grab a hold of. But now it's 5-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard as here's Parker Hodgins, struck out looking in his last plate appearance against Easton Jones. Now has a runner at first being Isaiah Shaw. Now, a good infield defensive play would probably help boost the confidence here because, again, with how close this game has been, one small thing could lead to another pretty quickly as Silas' first pitch in there for strike number 1 as Hodgin, man, was half-heartedly swinging on that one. It's 0-1 again. Hodgin 0 for 3, ground out 2 strikeouts today. Silas with his glance at first to Shaw. Likes what he sees from McIntyre. His 0-1. Check swing again, but it's above the letters for ball number 1. You ever been this stressed in your life?
This is a big moment right here. I mean, Hodgin, he's got to be selective with these pitches on what he wants to swing on because there's a little bit of momentum building, but with that runner at first and an out recorded, the double play is still in play.
I'll have to say that double play is still on the cards just in case. As next pitch, oh boy, it's in the dirt, but good defense from Dean McIntyre to make sure it does not skirt past him. But as you said, that double play is like looming ominously at the moment. And that's why in the first 2 pitches, you saw Hodgins kind of half-heartedly take kind of a little bit of a check swing. As the 2-1, Another pitch that's upstairs from Silos. 3-1 the count. Same thing can kind of go the other way to Silos, Tense moment for the young man. His probably biggest game of his young career so far, and calling upon him in this final inning to really hold the fort down for North Platte. Big swing and a miss, though, by Parker Hodgen on a beautiful throw from Silos. 3-2 with 1 out. Come on, Jacoby Silos, now's the time. 3-2, 1 out. A walk would put a runner at first and second. And out, a strike here would get the second out. Pitch! Well, that's popped up, and it's going to fall right on top. Yep, of our press box with a loud thunk. And now we'll stay at 3-2 again. On next is Jackson Shagru, who's also held hitless, and then Caleb Wallmeyer. 5-1 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163, as they lead this game over the number 1 seeded 5 Point Banks Hastings, and that's going to be a walk as it's tying around the ankle and low, ball 4, and now 2 runners are aboard for Jackson Shagru. He flew out to the infield in his last plate appearance. Now versus Jacoby Silos for the first time today. Now, the scary part is, next, if this does go to a bases-loaded situation, game-tying run comes up to the plate. And this is where maybe an out here would save the day for Silos. Still can be a double play at basically any position, as Shagru will foul that ball off for strike 1. Shagru 0 for 3 today. Flew out in his last plate appearance to the infield. Grounded out in his second and flew out in his first. So not a good day for Jackson Shagru. And you want to talk about an opportunity to come through with something big. Now's the time for Shagru with Wallmeyer on deck and Nick Musel in the hole for Hastings. 1 out here in this bottom of the 7th inning. A 4-run lead for Great Plains Health. Now, Silos is 0-1. Tight inside. Almost hitting Shagru, but there's ball number 1. Now the question I think will come, if the bases do loaded and Silos starts to walk runners home, would Coach Holm make a pitching change? I believe that could be on the cards, but really a ground out here could change the landscape of things, as the 1-1, good fastball, but pulls once again tight inside. 2-1 the count now. How worried would you be if the bases do get loaded in this situation particularly?
And as you mentioned, with a young pitcher up there on the mound, I mean, that's a big, big spot. But it's also a big moment that he can come through in.
2-1 for Jacoby Silos. His next pitch cleared down the third base line, foul, so gets his second strike. Big opportunity here for one Jacoby Silos, as they're going to get some new baseballs out to the umpires. 2-2, 1 out. Runners at first and second for 5 Points Bank Hastings. Isaiah Shaw at second. Parker Hodgen at first. Huge 2-2 count. Shagru 0 for 3, as he's looking to put a good foot forward, and this actually might force Shagru into a bad spot, knowing he is hitless and has an opportunity to drive runs home. Might take a big swing on a bad pitch. We'll see here. 2-2. Silos' pitch. Grounder, foul. As that's down the third base side, so everybody will try once again. And to be honest with you, if Silos can somehow get the last out right here, that might be, will put North Platte in probably prime position to, at some point, just find just a single out, which is, as always in baseball, is doable. 2-2. Still a 4-run lead for North Platte in this bottom of the 7th inning. Silos' 2-2 pitch. Oh, it's going to hit Jackson Shagru. And on over, he goes to first. And now out comes Coach Holm to have a conversation, as he's going to have a talk with home plate umpire and didn't get the conversation he wanted, and now the bases are loaded as out comes Coach Holm to talk with Silos. Oh, man, heartbreaking for Silos. I mean, it was close, as if that hit the elbow of Jackson of Chagru, it almost looked like he had a little bit of a lean in on it, but bases are now loaded with nobody out. 5-1 lead. Shiloh still on the mound, getting the encouragement from the team. And up to bat, Caleb Wallmeyer struck out swinging his last at-bat. Now the good news is there's an out at any bag, so obviously if it's into the infield, all you need to do is just throw her one way and wipe your hands clean and just get the easy outs. But now things get even more interesting because the game-tying run is now at home plate with Caleb Wallmeyer. Struck out in his last at-bat, hit by a pitch in his second and walked in his first. Bases loaded. Shaw at third, Hodgen at second, Chagru at first as Silas' first pitches upstairs for ball number 1. 1-0 the count, 1 out, bottom of the 7th inning. 4-run lead for Great Plains Health. Big foul tip off by Wallmeyer into the glove of McIntyre, strike number 1.
The scary thing with what kind of contact we've seen in this inning, everything is getting belted out into the outfield. And the way that we just saw that swing, that was looking to leave the yard too.
I was going to say, could be a bases clearing, at least double from potentially Wallmeyer. That pitch upstairs, and now McIntyre going to have a glance at the home plate umpire to get confirmation. But 2-1 from Jacoby Silos to Caleb Wallmeyer. He winds up, Silos does. Beautiful strike, and it's in there. There we go. 2-2 with 1 out. Bases loaded. A lot on the line here for North Platte as they want to take down the number 1 seeded Hastings today. Silos, deep breath. Gets the sign for McIntyre. His 2-2 pitch. Come on, baby. Fastball upstairs, ball 3. A walk here would score a run. So here we go. Big pitch for Jacoby Silos. 3-2 with 1 out to Caleb Wallmeyer. The delivery! That one going out to center field. It might fall for a base hit. It will. 1 run will score. And that'll at least stop the progression, and I think we're going to see a pitching change as out comes head coach Ricky Holm, and that'll do it for Jacoby Silos. As it's now 5-2 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard, and now the question, who's going to be the man to go pitching, and it looks like it's going to be Landon Greeno, who will be now up to pitch for North Platte as Wallmeyer gets a shallow blooper into center field, scores 1 run, and then, of course, advances all the runners up 1 position. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, and this, you talked about earlier, this is where those extra runs that came in last inning are playing big dividends for North Platte, because you hate to say you had that cushion to give up a couple runs, but now that you're in this situation, now it's really go time at this point, with it being a 5-2 lead for North Platte and the bases loaded.
And you bring in a lefty at this point, too. A little bit of a different look.
I think if I remember correctly, the lone lefty on this team right now, of course, the other lefty in the program was Cade Freeze, but he took prospects this year. So Landon Greeno is your lone lefty who has been ultra reliable when he has been called upon. And again, all you need, a pop-up or a ground out would be huge for this team. 1 out in this bottom of the 7th inning, 5-2 lead for North Platte. You're on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. If North Platte wins, they'll play tomorrow at 7 versus Grand Island U-Save. If they lose, they'll play at 4 versus Wesco Zephyrs of Scotts Bluff. Landon Greeno taking over for Jacoby Silos. Easton Jones moves to first base. Silos then moves to third. As again, with the bases loaded, Landon Greeno will take over on the mound for North Platte with Nick Musil now up to bat. Struck out swinging his last plate appearance, singled in his second, struck out in his first, now facing the first lefty today from either side. In this bottom of the 7th inning, 2 runs have already come across for 5 Points Bank. Hastings, beautiful Off-speed changeup in the zone. And this is why we call Landon Greeno old reliable. These situations where he comes into and they need somebody to either produce a big hit or close the door is what he lives and breathes for, as that fastball gets away from Dean McIntyre, and I might have jinxed it there as coming on home. Another run for Hastings. 5-3 as that ball soars behind Dean McIntyre, and it's now 5-3 on our wicked fast scoreboard. One of the lone times today you've seen a ball get past McIntyre, but now with a 1-1 count, Landon Greeno makes his way on over to the mound to try again. So 2 runners aboard, being Jackson Shagru and Jacob Wallmeyer. The game-tying run at second base for Hastings. As Greeno's pitch, off speed, rocketed down to the home dugout of Hastings. There's strike number 2. Big pitch here, honestly. I think this might be one of those I've said it 3 times already today, but honestly, this might be the game-sealing pitch if Greeno can get Nick Musil to either ground out or strike out. 1-2, swing and a miss, and a pitch up in no man's land, and Musil goes down. And here we go. Final out of potentially the ball game here. Liam Dyer up to bat. He's walked twice today in his last 2 appearances. Flew out to Caden Johnson. Again, game-tying run is at second base with Caleb Wallmeyer. As a lefty, Landon Greeno gets set and delivers. Off-speed, man, has just been locked in since he's entered the ballgame in there for strike number 1. And again, this is that curveball that North Platte can throw upon Hastings. A pitch-controlled lefty, as that one grounded out by Liam Dyer down the third base side. That's strike number 2. 0-2 the count now to Liam Dyer. 5-3 lead for Great Plains Health post 163. Potentially 1 strike away from taking down the number 1 seed in this A7 district. The 0-2. That's fouled back to the netting. We'll still stay at 0-2. Yeah, I'm putting my hand back on Jake's shoulder as we are all, I swear everybody's in here that's their breath held at the moment. And when you talk about a run, like last year that started for North Platte, it started against beating a very strong Kearney team in that tournament, and that's what led them to state. And now I'll talk about the next year, after what had been a progressively worse year, going and winning this one. Swing and a miss! We did it! North Platte has done it! Old reliable Landon Greeno comes in, shuts the door, and the number 1 seeded 5 Points Bank Hastings go down. The Demons that have been wrecking North Platte for 3 years. Hastings can't do it today in the district first matchup. North Platte secures the victory to take on Grand Island U-Save tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable stuff here. And you want to talk about taking that first step forward. Last year, North Platte had to go through not 1, not 2, but 3 of the toughest teams in the A7 district, all ranked 1, 2, 3, Kearney, Grand Island, Home Federal, and Hastings. They defeat the demon that has plagued them not only this season but throughout their entire careers as they take down Hastings 5-3. 5 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for North Platte. 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Hastings. It looked close. They got close in the end. But got to say, shout out to Easton Jones and what probably was his best start in his entire career, when he was called upon most, when really the morale was at its lowest, to come through with that near perfect game and really ice it for North Platte. Tomorrow's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, you got to think about those insurance runs in the top of the 7th inning. That's how they got this win. They added 2 in the top, If not, it would have been tied 3-3, and that was a chance again for Hastings to hit a walk-off base knock and find a win late in this game after not scoring the entire time. So the offense, it was not strong tonight from either side, but it came up when it was needed most, especially on the side of North Platte.
And we talked about the struggles that Reichstein started this game off, giving up pretty much those 3 free runs off of his mistakes. Just imagine if they had, the other 2 pitchers that came in and shut down North Platte Tilg in that top of the 7th inning, how different this game might have been. But to be honest with you, a 5-3 victory, as you said, those 2 insurance runs at the top were all that they needed. And I told you, this Hastings squad, they somehow have that voodoo magic. Whenever that bottom of the 7th hits, they just turn into a whole different team. But this time, North Platte was able to shut the door and end let Hastings start off their district run 1-0. And that's the number 1 seed going down. Now we're throwing this whole bracket into utter chaos because so far the other 2 top seeds won. Kearney won, Grand Island Home Federal won. The only team that didn't win out of the top 3, of course, won 5 points Bank Hastings. 5 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for North Platte. 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Hastings. It's time for our quick stop post-game show. With that, we'll step aside and we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have a talk not only with head coach Ricky Holm, but we'll all grab our hearts, which are somewhere in this building, and put it back into our sockets on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Here we are, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, live streaming NorthPlattePost.com, and it is a victorious day for Great Plains Health Post 163, taking down the demons that have plagued them, not just this season, not just last season, the season after that, and you just go down the list. Hastings has always been that, poor devil in their back that has never really let them up, and I was talking with head coach Ricky Holm, who joins me. The PTSD was probably flowing nice and heavy in those last couple of pitches with 3 runs coming across. I think your immediate thought, like everybody else's in here, was, oh no, here we go. Here we go again.
Well, thank God we played for a couple extra runs there in the top of the
Yes.
7th just to get some insurance. First and foremost, Easton Jones, heck of a game. Really struggled with his off speed. Was predominantly a one-pitch pitcher. To go 6 innings, 105 pitches, that probably had, 8 or 9 strikeouts. Really pounded the zone. There wasn't a lot of hitting going on both ways. But when we had to execute, we executed. I told the guys after the game, the play that sticks in my head is first and second and Dean getting a bunt down to get guys to second and third, and both of those runs ended up scoring. That's probably the first bunt that Dean's got down since he's been here. So it was one of those things where I knew that if we could get him to second and third, we were going to do some of our normal shenanigans. So really big on Dean as a middle of the order hitter to be able to get that bunt down. Thought our defense played really well, ran the bases well when we chose to steal, and got a little tight there at the end. Joby kind of just some jam sandwich hits and some walks, but then Greeno, senior leader, coming in and closing the door. Would have liked to have gotten through it without throwing those 3 guys, but both Silos and Greeno can come back tomorrow if need be. So all in all, Hastings gives us a ton of trouble, but if there's any time we're going to beat them during districts, I'll definitely take that.
Yeah, I mean, this team, and we talked after the horrible week, we'll call it horrible weekend you had last week, 1-3 of that Kearney tournament, and it was not looking pretty for your team. What was it like going into that week of practice, in terms of what you were thinking or what you wanted to execute well? Because when you looked at this team holistically, yes, the hits still haven't, exploded the way you've wanted them to be. Much cleaner, much better overall from this team compared to last week.
Yeah, I mean, this last week, it was high-focused reps, high-energy reps. We had the boom box out on the field, blasting music just to kind of get used to the environment, just making sure that you're not going through the motions. If you're going through the motions in any practice reps and then you try to turn that switch on in a game, it's going to be really tough to do. We did a lot of squeezing, we did a lot of slashing, we did a lot of defense, just the little things that we needed to clean up, and it came to fruition today.
It really did, and I think for me, you just knew Lady Luck was on your side with that absolutely ridiculous bunt put down by Connor Stifler.
A week ago, so we had just put down some new dirt on the base pass a week ago. That might not have stayed fair because the ridge might have brought it back foul, so kudos to the groundskeepers for bringing that dirt in there because, I definitely think that one helped us.
I was going to say that was the most voodoo magic type of bunt I've ever seen in my life, but now, of course, we've talked on air, off air about the potential of this bracket and how goofy it is, and to be honest, whether win or lose, you kind of had a favorable matchup going into the next game, whether it be Scottsbluff or whether it be Grand Island USAVE. How does it feel now knowing that you're in the upper bracket compared to being in the lower bracket, even though you're going to go against a team that you've faced a couple of times, have gotten away with pretty easy with some victories?
Yeah, brackets give me headaches. I outsource any of that type of stuff to a few guys that give me answers, and supposedly they tell me that if we win our first 2 and GI wins their first 2, that we're in. So as wrong as it feels, probably going to be rooting for GI tomorrow in the game before us. But in the end, you're going to end up having to beat any of these teams anyways. So, GIB played Kearney close today. They were up on them most of the game, and Kearney just put it on us. So understanding that there isn't a team that you could take lightly, and also understanding that if we play our game that we could compete against anybody. I try to tell the guys that, pressure is a privilege. The teams that aren't expected to win or aren't expected to compete don't feel that pressure, don't have that pressure from the outside, from the inside. So really just proud of the guys and the way they controlled their heart rate and competed today, and hopefully we could do that again tomorrow.
That's what you love to see. Now you can hand that microphone on over. Easton Jones, we'll give him the big fancy mic here for today. Easton, man, we've had so many conversations. There's been so many moments between me and you and what's been happening on the diamond. We talked last week that Ogallala game was probably your biggest memory. Honestly, I feel like we should scratch that one, throw it out the window, because this was probably my new favorite moment of you. In a time where the team, felt, I hate to say in the dumps, but after last week, it's not really looking good for you guys, whether it be the momentum or maybe even the energy. But today, you on that mound led that charge to say, hey, it's never over until it's over. And you beat the team that has been your guys' demon in the back for 3 years, 4 years now, and you advanced to the upper bracket. And as Coach said, potentially one win away from making it to state for the second year in a row.
Yeah, that last thing that you just said there, I mean, that just gives me goosebumps right there, going to that state tournament. Me and Caden Jonason are looking to be a couple of guys that have made state 3 out of the 5 years that they've been here, so that would be a pretty big accomplishment. But as far as how I did today, yeah, I live for these moments, man. Like, especially not playing those last years. I mean, I missed out on moments like these, and that's just how I was raised, is for big moments like these. And so, especially versus Hastings, knowing that they've kind of beat up on us a little bit when they shouldn't, or when we think that they shouldn't, at least, because we know how good of a team we are. But yeah, last year districts, I closed it out in game 2 versus them, and I wanted the ball versus these guys. I mean, I don't think they can beat me when I'm at my best, and I don't think anybody could. I mean,
if you're pitching today, and we saw it even last weekend as well, when you're on your A game, it's pretty smooth, crystal sailing. When we got to that 5th and 6th inning, even though I think holistically your pitches were super efficient until we got to those latter parts, and you're starting to get a little wear and tear on you, how much were you pleading with Coach, maybe even in that 6th inning, to get you to go back out there one more time? Because you were nearing that 100 mark, which has been, I would say, it's been a frequency that you've seen a lot this season, but in a moment like this, you were probably calling upon to get to.
Yeah, for sure. As that game went on, I started getting a little more tired, which is it's pretty normal, especially for me, kind of getting still back into shape. But yeah, I mean, I think he trusts me with the ball even when I'm tired, and I appreciate that a lot. So whenever he's confident in me, I mean, that I'm confident even more in myself than I already am. I'm a pretty humble kid, but I mean, come on.
When you're on I'll take on the baseball. Here's the thing: the competitive spirit, like everybody out there is super humble in their own right. But when you're on the baseball field, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, when you're on there, you don't have to be humble, because if you're not, as you say, if your confidence is not at that all-time high, then you're never really going to succeed as much as you want to. And throughout every motion, I think there was maybe bottom of the 2nd inning where I thought that was probably your weakest inning, and outside of that, you never really faltered from any point onward, which leaves me excited because, it kind of was like you were the main wrecking force to get your energy going, because tomorrow you now not only are in that winner's bracket, you're facing a team that you have seen twice this season and beat, I hate to say comfortably, but pretty well in Grand Island USAVE, which then kind of sets up your journey once again to that winner makes the championship match here in the A7 district. How big after that game, when you guys were running around the park and then having that conversation, was this victory for you?
Oh, we know it was huge. I mean, we look at the seeding, 1 seed, 6 seed. I mean, we don't look into that. I mean, we know there's been so many times this year that we've just lost games where we shouldn't have lost, so that obviously affected our record leading towards our seeding. But, yeah, I mean, we know into this game that we were going to win. I mean, our confidence is an all-time high when at the right time in the season. So, it got a little scratchy there at the end, which, I mean, we can never win, just easy. That's a thing that's been said.
Against Hastings, when I saw those runs come across, I was like, man, I'm just getting some really bad Vietnam flashbacks right now.
Yeah, for sure. But so closing out a game like that with Jacoby Silos coming in for me, I had a lot of confidence in him. Did well. I mean, not the best he would have liked him, but then Landon Greeno.
Have you seen those off space? We were all sitting. I about fell out of my chair in those 2 pitches he threw, because that was the nastiest pitches I've seen him throw.
That's what he can
all
do.
Season. That's why we call him Old Reliable, because in any situation, it's crazy, because there's just so many guys in there that you just sit and be like, when the lights turn on, man, it's a whole different ball game for those players, because they just turn that extra switch on. Landon Greeno didn't warm up at all, called upon, cold as you can be when you're getting pitches in, and threw it like he's been pitching 5 innings, no scratch whatsoever. And that brings it into tomorrow, which is so exciting, because now you got that ball rolling. You're essentially it's next game up, you're 0-0 going into tomorrow versus a USAVE team, which is not, as we talked, not the same USAVE team as before. And again, you may be the 6th seed and you may have beaten Grand Island USAVE twice, but this ain't that easy scoff off. Hey, USAVE, we've done it before. We beat them 22-0 at some point. What's going to be your, and probably the team's, look in terms of how you're going to get prepared for tomorrow? Okay, quick turnaround with these tournament games.
Just going 1-0 again, like we said. Obviously, GIB's not a Hastings team, but like we talked about last week or whenever it was, I mean, we can't just die down against a team like that who can sneak up on you. Like
they almost beat Kearney. Shockingly, they almost beat Kearney today.
Exactly.
And that's a team that, I hate to be that guy, but Wally gaggled us at one point this season.
Yeah, they did. So, yeah, we got to come ready, get focused, go 1-0. Because if we go 1-0, then we're 2-0. And I know a couple of guys in here would be satisfied with going to state, but I also know there's a couple of us that got a bad taste in our mouth from last year in that championship game versus GI. I mean, that that was one of the more heartbreaking moments of my baseball career. I mean, we were right there, and then all of a sudden we just give up a walk-off 3-run home run, which was very unfortunate. But a couple guys, if not all the guys, I mean, want to go all the way this year and be the first, arguably the first seniors team to win districts, especially at home too. I mean, there's a great show out tonight.
I was about to say, talk about a more storybook kind of ending that would be for your career here, specifically at Bill Wood Field. The crowds have been fantastic. The first district game here hosted in a long time, and you guys make it to the championship match and potentially get that championship match. We couldn't ask for a more storybook type of way to end on a season that has been, pretty roller coastery for you. So I'm excited to see what you guys do tomorrow. And as always, man, 1-0. Keep it up,
yes,
baby.
Sir. Appreciate
Keep
it,
it up. Easton Jones stopping on by after his fantastic performance today for Great Plains Health Post 163. We'll step aside, take a real quick break. When we come back, we'll finish up our quick stop post-game show. Jake will step back into the driver's seat here with me, and we'll send it off for tomorrow's game. Grand Island USAVE taking on North Platte at 7 o'clock. We'll have more of our quick stop post-game show up next, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Bill Wood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Jake was just running back and forth. Both Jakes, actually. It's kind of funny. I have Jake over here, Jake over here. Both were running up and down the back room here into the new room with excitement because I hate, for the first time this season, North Platte has taken down 5 points Bank Hastings in 7 innings. 5-3 on our Wicket Fast scoreboard. 5 runs, 5 hits, 1 error compared to the 3 runs on 4 hits, 1 error. Now, you have not been a part of the, I hate to say travesties, but the unfortunateness of the Hastings comebacks, and I've gone in sweeping lakes to you off air about how terrifying it is when you see a run come across. But how do you think North Platte handled really not just that last inning, but this entire game as a whole? Because I think probably one of the best games they've had all season, even after giving up 3 in the bottom of the 7th. I should turn you up there. That's on me. See, good. I'm the inexperienced one here.
Yeah, so I thought the composure was actually really strong at most points from this North Platte team today. You mentioned some of the past struggles with this team, and that's always in the back of your mind. Especially you were talking with Easton Jones, and that's a guy who's been here and done that with this team. So that's in the back of his mind every time he was going back out there on the mound to pitch, or he got behind an account and he had to work something back or rely on the defense. So I feel like that was really impressive, and I think you have to give a lot of credit to the coaching as well to handle this big game and not let his team get too high or too low. Even when the offense wasn't really showing out, they still showed a lot of ability to go out there and provide consistency on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, and we talk about, one of North Platte's deficiencies this season has been taking some really horrible swings in the counts. And I think today, I don't even know if we can even count anybody who's taken a real horrible swing in any of the pitching counts today. And I think that's been a huge, good step forward for them. And, for all the, the crap we sometimes give head coach Ricky Holm about some of his too aggressive base running or maybe making a bad call in terms of leaving a guy out there too long, you hit the nail right on the head. This was exactly the perfect game that head coach could have called, because not only did he choose the right person to get the start here today, but he also got the whole team reinvigorated and re-locked in, because it takes quite a lot, to be honest with you, after such a tough weekend that North Platte had last week and going 0-3, and a lot of those games being pretty ugly at some point or another during them, to have this team locked into the level they had against the number one team in this region, which is, again, been just running through teams left, right, and center, and even these are good teams like Millard South, Millard North, just absolutely blitzing through them, and to leave them up until, again, that bottom of the 7th with only 2 hits and no runs, that's a huge, tip to the cap to head coach Ricky Holm, being like, you know what, today you call the perfect game. I think, and he didn't step, again, hindsight's 50-50. He didn't step, in my opinion, a step too in the wrong direction. Even when Easton Jones, we all thought, should not come back in that 6th inning, he still believed, he still trusted, and because of that inning got out, no issues whatsoever the rest of the way, and they then cruise on now to stay in the upper bracket, facing Grand Island U Save, who lost versus Kearney today 5-4, and wow, yes, so far North Platte has beaten Grand Island U Save easily I say easily, but pretty convincingly this season. This is not the same Grand Island U Save team that we've known for the past few years that have been well below 500 on their record. This is a team that has been at around 500 the whole season. They've been really sticking it to some of the best teams in this region. Again, almost upset Kearney. This bracket could have been a whole different if they beat Kearney earlier today, but they're the team North Platte draws tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And again, I don't know how the mathematicians of that works out, but if they beat, hypothetically, if they beat U-Save and Home Federal beats whoever, I think they're playing Kearney tomorrow. If they beat Kearney tomorrow, we're looking at back-to-back state trips potentially for North Platte. And I hate to be that guy to jump that far out into the way ahead zone, but that's got to be a little bit extra, bar to tomorrow's game for North Platte.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think, again, talking about some of the veterans coming back to this year's team, they know they can do it, right, with those past runs. So you're not really as much worried about them showing up. It's about really leading on their leadership and their ability to show maybe some of the younger players that this is our standard and this is what we look to do every single season.
It's going to be quite fun tomorrow. Again, North Platte with the 5-3 victory over 5 points bank Hastings, 5 runs on 5 hits, 1 error for North Platte. They left 9 men stranded on the base pads compared to Hastings, 3 runs, 4 hits. They also left 9 left stranded on the base pads for them. For pitching today, Easton Jones, of course, will come away with the victory. 6 innings, didn't give up a run, only gave up 2 hits in his over 105 pitches. Jacoby Silos did, of course, give up, 2 hits and, 3 runs to come across, unfortunately, on his side. But Landon Greeno shut it down in his brief little stint. Unfortunately for Hastings, and Jacob Reichstein, in his only 3 innings of play, gave up 2 hits to go along with his 65 pitches and 3 earned runs. So not the best day for Reichstein, but that's what we needed. That's exactly what the doctor needed, and I'm not going to lie, after seeing that poor guy at first base get pelted in the nose with a baseball, I kind of felt like, all right, well, maybe Lady Luck is on our side today. Going to need that again tomorrow when North Platte takes on Grand Island U-Save at 7 o'clock here from Bill Wood Field. Winner of that match goes to the potential next game to get into the championship game. So North Platte's got a lot riding on it, and I hope that we get to see that tomorrow. It'll make me a happy man. I know it'll make you a happy man, even though you're not going to be here. Jake, as always, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure to have you today for this game, and I can't wait to see what you do up in Alliance. I already know you're going to kill it. You're going to kill. Watching you do what you did here today, boy, you're going to kill it up there. So
I appreciate
thank you for stopping on by. I know you got a little bit of a good taste of victory in your mouth to go home to. So we'll see you all tomorrow at 7 o'clock. The Banana Boat crew, as always, will be here. The other Jake will be here. I'll be there. TJ, as well as Pork Chop, will be there, and everybody else that we all know to come and love. Final score, 5-3 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. I will see you all tomorrow for some more Great Plains Health baseball on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. That was our Quick Stop post-game show. 27 locations open 24 hours a day. Quick Stop, always open right around the corner.